Everyone in this world is almost purely a reproductive tool, only to give birth to that small portion of people with potential. Because 100 years ago, the number of evil spirits suddenly grew out of control and began to slaughter humanity at will. Only this small portion of people can become spirit exorcists, with the ability to resist evil spirits. The so-called spirit master is a person who possesses the potential to summon spirits and can manipulate them to fight against evil spirits. Each spirit is bound to a token. This token becomes the spirit's emblem. Only children selected through the 100-day lottery ritual have the chance to enter a specialized spirit master school. This is the second spirit master school of Lu City. The awakening ritual is about to begin. To awaken the half-life spirits, those who fail can only serve as breeding tools in the inner city for life. This is also for the continuation of the race. In the classroom, the students have already taken their seats. They are whispering to each other. It is said that all civilians must have 10 offspring before the age of 30. That's just tragic. Some even argue that this is still relatively good. If you fail the first time, the survival rate is less than 10%. Wait, it seems someone is coming. Lin Feng turned to look. The person who arrived can only be described as possessing humanity. It's hard to tell who's human and who's a ghost. But Lin Feng knew. The time to change fate had arrived. 13 years ago, Lin Feng was abandoned by his parents just for picking a ghostly spirit. In this era where everyone is on edge, true family bonds are rare. Without the protection of his parents, being bullied by delinquents was an everyday occurrence. They stomped on Lin Feng's ghost emblem. They sneered, saying that this little ghost cry fits a loser like him. Might as well call him Ghost Loser Lin. Lin Feng's body was covered in wounds, but the sharpness in his eyes was undiminished. The humiliation he endured along the way made Lin Feng fully understand. Only by becoming stronger can I take control of my own destiny. Today's spirit awakening ceremony must be a success. Cough slightly asterisk. Everyone, please listen. Hello, students. I am the head of the Ghost Master Association in Lucheng, and also the supervisor of this awakening ritual. While the students were still wondering whether this person was human or ghost, the supervisor continued, I'll skip the unnecessary talk. Take out your ghost spirit tokens. Everyone obediently complied. At a crucial moment like this, no one dared to slack off. When the students stared at their ghost spirit tokens, unsure of what to do, the supervisor said, focus your mind on the tokens. Looking at the token in his hand, Lin Feng felt uncertain inside. What kind of spirit can be summoned? With a token like this? Seeing that everyone was almost done, the inspector's pistol was strange. It emitted a hard, bluish light, making him appear ghostly and imposing. At this moment, the little chubby boy's talisman began to uncontrollably seep blood. The people around became panicked. The blonde girl's talisman also reacted. The temperature kept rising. It gradually became hot. Lin Feng watched all of this. He felt a bit curious. Why didn't his own talisman react? The classroom fell into chaos. The inspector quickly spoke up to calm everyone, stimulated by my ghostly aura. Your tokens are responding, which means your half-spirits are still here. Upon hearing this, some people's eyes began to lose their light. Some began to rage in helplessness. They realized they were likely to become breeding tools. As expected, the inspector continued, those whose spirit tokens didn't react. Your half-spirit has long since vanished. Please leave first. A student who couldn't accept the result lost control of his emotions. He pointed at the inspector, yelling, you're not even human. Why should we listen to you? Lin Feng watched the scene unfold before him. I thought this paper man must be a half-spirit controlled by a ghost to act as a substitute. However, the most critical issue right now is that Lin Feng's own ghostly spirit is completely unresponsive. The fat guy leaned over. He mocked Lin Feng openly. You trash that came out of the shelter. I told you long ago that your ridiculous bow tie would never awaken. Lin Feng looked at him with icy eyes. But this couldn't stop him from continuing to spout nonsense. You tool for promotion. Do you still want to challenge the future demon master? Go ahead and try, Redstone. The fat guy also didn't forget to insult the others. And you useless people who can't awaken. Hurry up and go back to your hometown. How could someone who previously confronted the inspector take this insult? He rolled up his sleeves and prepared to solve it violently. He didn't even notice the inspector's gaze behind him turning extremely cold. Then, in front of everyone's horrified eyes, he collapsed directly to the ground, until he lost his life. Lin Feng's pupils constricted. Cold sweat broke out. This is the power of encountering the ghost master. The supervisor spoke again. Those with the potential to encounter ghosts are no longer on the same level as you. The tone was cold, as if they could kill at any moment. Lin Feng felt helpless, and could only turn away. His belief began to waver. Can I really not change my fate? Compared to Lin Feng's downfall, the classroom was full of joy. Following the supervisor's guidance, everyone successfully summoned a spirit. But at that moment, an accident occurred. The chubby guy who had been showing off the most screamed for help in terror. A fierce and ominous magic blade hovered in front of him. Immediately, he lost control. A long, ghostly laugh burst out of his mouth. Someone realized that half of his body was possessed by a sinister spirit. Before anyone could react, the fat man was possessed by the evil spirit. His muscles bulged, tearing his clothes apart. At this moment, he looked like a demon descending upon the world. Ming smiled and began to slash at his classmates with a knife. The classmate closest to the fat guy accidentally got injured by the magic blade. He looked at his wound, which still glowed with an eerie energy that was clearly difficult to heal. The classmates in the classroom were all scared and fled in all directions. But only supervisor number 4 showed no intention of intervening. Is this a test for the students using evil spirits? Lin Feng pondered for a moment. The fat guy rushed out and spotted Lin Feng. In a flash, he was right in front of Lin Feng. Lin Feng stood still, completely unable to react. At the critical moment, the system popped up, detecting the presence of a half-body ghost spirit. System activated. A half-spirit is about to be generated. In midair, a beautiful figure in white gradually materializes under the formation, appearing in front of Lin Feng, blocking a fatal strike for Lin Feng. Lin Feng thought, this is my half-spirit. At this moment, the system notification appeared. Ghost summon successful. Reward, ghost experience plus 50. Ghost plays around. Storage space plus 1 cubic meter. Looking at his cute half-lowly ghost, her attributes were displayed before Lin Feng by the system. F-level ghost, 2-star potential. The ability to tear apart the spirit has not been clarified. Bond 60 at the same time. The system prompts that the spirit requires 1 spirit pill to upgrade. Would you like to upgrade? Looking at the youthful face of his spirit, Lin Feng chose yes without hesitation. The spirit successfully leveled up to level 1. Lin Feng also gained a 30% enhancement to his body. He could clearly feel his hearing and vision enhanced. The fat man possessed by the evil spirit was confronting the girl. From the size, they weren't even in the same league. The system didn't care about the situation in the arena. It issued another task to the half-life ghost spirit to facilitate better communication. Reward: ghost spirit experience plus 20. Bond duration extended. Mention of naming. Looking at the ghost spirit in front of him, Lin Feng's mind flashed with an image. He then decisively named the ghost spirit Tong Tong. After getting a name, Tong Tong's ghost skills were confirmed. That is the evil spirit mode with the evil spirit possessing. The fat man looked at Tong Tong in front of him, seemingly sensing a trace of threat. The doctor unexpectedly fell into a frenzied state. It was truly terrifying. Even the paper figure inspector, who had been watching the show, could no longer bear it, and ran out of the classroom, telling everyone to back off. Facing the frenzied fatty, Lin Feng didn't retreat. Instead, he slowly stepped forward and picked up a chair, a sharp glint in his eyes. Tong Tong's abilities are still uncertain. Having her deal with the base ghost is too risky. Even as a ghost hunter, he still trusts himself the most. Facing the fat man charging with the demonic blade, Lin Feng grabbed a chair and rushed forward, barely dodging the demonic blade by a hair's breadth. Lin Feng could even feel the wind from the blade brush against his cheek. But that didn't stop him from delivering a full-force strike, smashing the chair onto the fat man. The fat man staggered from the hit. What surprised Lin Feng was, the fat man quickly regained his balance. With a reverse grip, he was about to stab Lin Feng in the back. Lin Feng thought to himself, this is bad. It was too close, he couldn't dodge at all. He had overestimated himself. Fortunately, Tong Tong appeared just in time. She forcibly grabbed the blade with her hands. Blood kept flowing as the magic blade dripped onto Lin Feng's face. Lin Feng was deeply moved by this scene. Before Lin Feng could get up, Tong Tong suddenly transformed. The originally white shirt became stained with blood, and her aura instantly turned sinister. This is her ghost technique, the evil spirit mode. With a sudden burst of power, he actually shattered the demon blade directly. The malevolent spirits might seem so insignificant before Tong Tong at this moment. The Watcher was just a temporary villain. This ghost spirit was surprisingly clever, not giving the fat guy any time to react. Tong Tong swung the starry power claw backhandedly. The ghost's momentum was like a rainbow. It directly knocked the fat guy into the air. This isn't over yet. Tong Tong once again retracted her fist to gather strength. Then she quickly swung it out. The was sent flying out with no resistance. The ghost attached to him slowly dissipated. A system prompt sounded, announcing the complete death of the evil spirit. The first battle was successful, rewarding 80 spirit experience. Bond increased by 10. 1 spirit pill. Although it's different from the leveling method taught in school, the system's rewards are truly generous. Lin Feng began to look forward to the future. Tong Tong had consumed too much ghost cry from activating the evil spirit mode, and returned to the spirit token. I originally thought Lin Feng was going to be reduced to a mere tool for promotion. His attitude instantly took a complete turn. Voices chimed in all at once. That's amazing. From now on, I'll follow him. How is he so strong? Jiancha looked at Lin Feng with admiration and said, you are excellent. Very brave. I underestimated him. Then the inspection pistol fired resolutely. A blue flame rose from his feet. It slowly engulfed his figure. Taking advantage of this moment, he said, report to the outer city the day after tomorrow. Today ends here. The soon-to-disappear inspector gazed deeply at Lin Feng. The newly awakened ghost spirit was already capable of a single strike. Its power far exceeded its own level. What a fierce character this is. After the inspector left, Lin Feng looked at the bow in his hand. He murmured to himself, I will definitely train you well. Tong Tong, Lin Feng, will definitely become the strongest ghost tamer. I won't let anyone step over me. The young man lay on the bed, staring at a bow for an entire afternoon. Not because it was a gift from his partner, but because his half-ghost was sealed inside. When Tong Tong appeared, the temperature around him dropped significantly. Seeing Tong Tong appear, Lin Feng praised Tong Tong for her great performance today. Tong Tong's lively face showed no expression at all. She even seemed a bit indifferent. Lin Feng pondered. Could it be that the ghost is completely unconscious? Or is Tong Tong too weak right now? Maybe she'll only gain consciousness after leveling up. Lin Feng casually chatted with Tong Tong. He observed her reactions. Unexpectedly, a system notification suddenly popped up. Tong Tong communicated for 5 minutes. She impressed with her amazing household skills. Bonding with her was familiar to him. This truly took Lin Feng by surprise. Who would have thought that chatting like this could increase experience? Does that mean being talkative can make you stronger? Of course, he's just thinking about it. He glanced at Tong Tong's panel in the system. Lin Feng noticed Tong Tong's evil spirit mode. This was something he had never heard of before. It's very unique, and level 1 spirits usually don't have ghost speech. Also, Tong Tong's experience points are already maxed out. But Lin Feng doesn't plan on leveling up using spirits. Avoid attracting unnecessary attention. First, I need to understand the system's functions. For example, what other ways are there to gain experience? Lin Feng tentatively patted Tong Tong's head. Although there was no corpse, the system surprisingly indicated that ghostly experience had increased by 1. Bonding increased by 1. So Lin Feng started to do some tricks. He taught Tong Tong the English letters A, B, C, D, E. He also watched Sadako with Tong Tong and that little ghost. At the same time, he didn't forget to observe Tong Tong's reactions. He even taught Tong Tong how to wash up. But he found that he couldn't see Tong Tong's actual figure in the mirror. Only his clothes were visible. They spent the whole night like this. Surprisingly, he gained 50 experience points. Bond time extension. While Lin Feng was sleeping, Tong Tong didn't need to sleep. He just sat quietly beside him, watching. His stare made Lin Feng feel uneasy. The next morning, as soon as Lin Feng appeared, he attracted everyone's attention. Word had already spread about him defeating the Earth-level evil spirit yesterday. Lin Feng ignored him. He headed towards the school-arranged ferry terminal. The people behind him were still whispering. They needed to figure out a way to handle this tough person. A group of students boarded the designated vehicles in an orderly manner under the teacher's arrangement. Only after getting on the bus did they realize there were some unusual spirits inside. Lin Feng looked at the bow tie he was wearing. He thought to himself that Tong Tong didn't seem to react much. There shouldn't be any threat. By this time, the teacher has already gotten into the car. He said, don't make a big deal out of it. There are spirits everywhere in the outer city. These are all benevolent spirits. There's no need to pay them much attention. They are also the source of half-spirits. We need to learn to coexist with spirits, to better adapt to life outside the city. Moreover, the teacher meaningfully added that sometimes the human heart can be scarier than a ghost. The vehicle quickly arrived at the transport entrance to the outer city, and stopped. Underwent inspection. The procedures at the ghost teacher school were quite complete. After the inspection, they were allowed to proceed. The school's arranged vehicle drove through the long corridor toward the outer city. This also meant that this group of students was entering another world. After coming out of the corridor, the students turned to look behind them. The outer wall of the inner city was a stunning sight. It was covered with a layer of gold 1 mm thick. This prevents ghosts from passing through the wall. This is the legendary Golden Wall. The gold above can block all the skills of the ghosts. It is an important measure to ensure that the inner city is not invaded. Upon reaching the outer city, the first thing that catches the eye is a magnificent statue. statue. Those who usually work here are typically middle-aged people over 40. Because they have lost their reproductive value, they can only come out to work. Additionally, there are some benevolent spirits available for summoning. The students continued forward. When they arrived at the reporting station, a pile of paper pieces flew over, gradually coming together. The paper person inspector appeared again. After greeting everyone, he began to explain that from now on, you will undergo 3 months of trials to become a certified ghost master. Now everyone can come to collect the map and locator. Then go to that building to find accommodation. Be aware that each house contains a malevolent spirit we have imprisoned. Whoever can resolve it will be able to own that house. You can choose to go with a few people, or go alone. Defeating it will allow you to claim a house. This is your first test. The bigger the house, the stronger the evil spirit, and the highest difficulty is in the villa district. If you want to live in a villa, you can try. As soon as the overseer's voice faded, the system gave the task. Obtain an independent house. Reward, Devil May Cry experience 100 to 1000. Depends on the size of the house. Ghost potential +1. The girl is always the absolute center of attention anywhere. Now walking through the crowd, just to say to Lin Feng, brother Lin, want to team up? This delicate voice, her pure white gaze, no man could refuse. But Lin Feng is still just a boy. He turned and walked away, leaving behind the remark, I like working alone. The girl stood there, a bit at a loss. She had never been rejected by a boy before. The people behind them also mocked Lin Feng during the gap. What's he pretending for? Everyone's reactions. Lin Feng didn't care. He lifted his foot and walked towards the villa area. Everyone watched the direction he was heading. A thought emerged in their minds that they were reluctant to believe. This guy isn't actually planning to take on the villa area alone, right? They weren't mistaken. Lin Feng had indeed come to the villa area alone. The aura of darkness here was indeed far greater than in other places. As Lin Feng continued to venture deeper into the villa area, he finally spotted a living person on a lounge chair outside a house. He immediately spoke up, Uncle, how do I get into the villa? The uncle did not answer his question. Instead, he said, young man, listen to my advice. Go back. The waters here are deep. You can't grasp it. Although these villas are indeed prepared for you students, but no one has lived in them for the past 10 years. Lin Feng was puzzled. Does that mean no one dares to come? The uncle smiled faintly and said, not at all. It's just that everyone who has come here is already dead. This villa is inhabited by Class C evil spirits. Encounters with ghosts may not necessarily be resolved. He thought Lin Feng would retreat upon hearing this. After hearing these words, Lin Feng indeed fell into deep thought. Tong Tong is still only at level 1. There's a significant risk in going in with a 2-level difference. However, the experience he had stored before hasn't been used yet. He directly accessed the system to upgrade Tong Tong. In no time at all, Tong Tong became the next ghost spirit. Lin Feng also gained an 80% physical enhancement. The uncle saw Lin Feng hesitate for a moment. Then he stepped forward again. He was a bit frustrated. Don't you understand? I already told you, and you still want to go in. But Lin Feng resolutely pushed open the villa door. He had his own thoughts in mind. The ground level Tong Tong entered the evil spirit mode. It could definitely contend with a sea-level ghost. Lin Feng walked into the villa, but he found that there was no one in the villa. It was terrifyingly quiet. He pondered in his heart. Where would a sea-level evil spirit hide? Suddenly, there was a noise coming from the second floor. Lin Feng turned to look in the direction of the sound. A shadow drifted by. Lin Feng, bold and fearless, went straight up to the second floor. He wanted to see what kind of entity was playing tricks. When he reached the second floor, the view before him was wide open. There was nothing around. Lin Feng focused, trying to feel anything. He made an effort to capture the situation around him. Suddenly, a sound of chopping reached his ears. A scene flashed in Lin Feng's mind. It sounded like a chef chopping vegetables. The sound of a maid carrying a tray. Lin Feng turned around suddenly. He dashed into the kitchen. He opened the door wide. All he saw were scattered utensils and a few sets of clothes in the pitch-black room. Lin Feng began to feel a bit restless. After all, the position was the most troublesome. Having a clear comparison of strength would be better, knowing whether to fight or flee. Just then, a bone cleaver appeared behind Lin Feng. It lunged fiercely at Lin Feng. As the saying goes, time waits for no one. Tong Tong stepped in to protect him. When Lin Feng turned around, he saw Tong Tong already confronting the unknown figure. Seeing that the strike had missed, the gentleman quickly withdrew. Then he fled down the corridor with a strange gait. Tong Tong hurriedly followed. Lin Feng shouted, Tong Tong. He wanted to keep her, but he couldn't even see her figure anymore. The maid's outfit that was scattered on the floor suddenly had a body lying in it. Waving the knife, the maid ghost attacked Lin Feng. Fortunately, Lin Feng reacted quickly. He narrowly dodged it by a hair's breadth. But things weren't that simple. Lin Feng looked around. He realized that he had unknowingly fallen into the encirclement of the maid ghosts. Seeing the 3 figures in front of him, Lin Feng felt a sense of retreat for the first time. He doesn't understand. It was clearly said that there was only one evil spirit in the villa. How could so many come out? Especially since Tong Tong is still in battle mode. There's no way to call her back. Fortunately, before entering the villa, he had leveled up Tong Tong to a certain degree. His own body has also received some enhancements. I can barely keep up with these 3 ghost maids. Moreover, their movements seem very twisted. Lin Feng seized the opportunity. He dashed out of the encirclement in one swift move. Once outside the kitchen, Lin Feng quickly turned around, fearing an attack from behind. But what he saw was, the maids' outfits all lost their support and scattered all over the floor. Lin Feng instantly understood that only by entering the room could they act. To experiment with his thoughts, Lin Feng tentatively stepped 1 foot inside. The clothes on the ground immediately stirred. A strange shadow appeared in an instant. This confirmed Lin Feng's suspicion. The ghost in the clothing isn't the main body but a spirit's ability. It's precisely because of the limitation on its activity range. That's why it went to such lengths to lure itself to the second floor. Suddenly, Lin Feng realized, Tong Tong must have been intentionally led away as well. He is in danger too. Lin Feng ran around, searching for Tong Tong's figure. He finally saw Tong Tong surrounded by all kinds of clothes in the auditorium. Lin Feng shouted towards the auditorium, Tong Tong, this is a trap. Come out quickly. But the male ghost had long been hiding nearby, waiting for right moment to attack Lin Feng. Lin Feng immediately grasped the golden blade he carried with him. He remembered that it was this guy who led Tong Tong away just now. Only he could move freely. Could it be that his complicated thoughts did not hinder Lin Feng's actions? With a swift motion, the blade struck down. The ambushing man failed. Instead, he was hit by Lin Feng. But he still swung the bone-cutting knife down. Lin Feng was stunned. What's going on? The golden blade actually had no effect. The male ghost lunged at Lin Feng again. Lin Feng had no other choice for the moment. He could only retreat into the hall. This was beyond Lin Feng's expectations. The moment he entered the auditorium, the male ghost lost his ability to move. It turns out he was a medical ghost too. But the situation didn't improve much. After entering the auditorium, the clothing ghosts in the auditorium all set their sights on Lin Feng. Perhaps they thought Lin Feng was easier to bully. They all pounced on Lin Feng. Lin Feng remained calm in a crisis. It was a good opportunity. Everyone's attention was on him. Tong Tong had already disengaged from combat. He directly used his ghostly summoning to bring Tong Tong back. Tong Tong disappeared. The group of abnormal spirits charged wildly at Lin Feng. He was now the only target in the arena. Lin Feng swiftly retreated, using the tips of his toes. After leaving the hall, the strange ghosts inside the hall began to dissipate. But Lin Feng didn't stop, because he knew the male ghost would regain mobility. So before the male ghost could get up, he leaped forward. By the time the male ghost regained mobility, all it could do was watch helplessly as Lin Feng jumped to the first floor. However, surprises lurked everywhere inside the villa. Before landing, Lin Feng noticed that his landing spot seemed rather unstable. Then, under the gaze of the male ghost, he smashed through the floor of the first level. With a thud, Lin Feng fell straight into the basement. He couldn't help but exclaim, "Sea-level evil spirits are indeed not easy to deal with." Lin Feng quickly realized something was wrong. They all jumped out on their own. They came out. They were entangled in front of him. And Tong Tong was facing a Class C evil spirit. It was the spirit creature seeing the true form of the evil spirit. Lin Feng was also quite shocked. Earlier, he had only attacked from a distance. The ability leaves me at a loss. Now, facing it directly, the sense of oppression is overwhelming. The spirit monster is not holding back. It directly extends its tentacles to attack. Tong Tong stands up. She tears apart the tentacles in front of her. However, the onslaught from the spirit monster is too intense. Tong Tong was caught off guard. He was knocked away by a tentacle. Lin Feng knew he couldn't just stand by. He drew the golden blade and stepped forward. He stood in front of Tong Tong and cut away the attacking tentacle, giving him time to recover. But after all, he is only human. His consciousness was unaware. He was entangled by the tentacles of the spirit monster. With a slight exertion from the spirit monster, Lin Feng was involuntarily pulled over. The red-eyed creature reacted in an instant, but still couldn't catch up. It was the other tentacles of the spirit monster. They rushed forward to block Tong Tong. Tong Tong couldn't advance at all. Lin Feng was slowly being swallowed by the spirit monster. Despite his struggles, the golden blade plunged down. It had no effect at all. As time passed, only half of Lin Feng's body remained outside. He felt himself being integrated. His strength was gradually fading. At this moment, the paperman inspector also arrived at the villa area. Unexpectedly, this uncle told him that Lin Feng had entered alone, and it had already been 10 minutes. The paperman inspector rushed straight through the front door. The evil spirit of this villa, even among C rank, it's still quite strong. Over here with Lin Feng, he's almost completely swallowed by the spirit monster. His consciousness is beginning to blur, and he feels countless faces grinning at him. Tong Tong looks at Lin Feng's condition, feeling an immense urgency in her heart. Instantly activated the evil spirit mode. Red ribbons floating around him, blocking the incoming beast's attack. His true form dashed recklessly toward the critically injured Lin Feng, even risking his life in the process, voluntarily entering the Shilin monster's body. In the end, he managed to hold the unconscious Lin Feng as he wished. The energy around him began to surge. The Shilin monster suddenly sensed something was wrong. The ghostly faces on its forehead gradually turned terrified. Then, several red blades shot out from within the Shilin monster. The paper puppet inspector sensed the battle fluctuations in the basement. He immediately felt something was off. He knew the Shilin monster's true form was there. With a swift movement, he arrived in the basement. What he saw before him exceeded his understanding. Red blades continuously shot out. They kicked up a massive cloud of dust in the basement. Even the uncle outside the villa felt the commotion inside. When the dust settled, the paper figure stared fixedly ahead. The Class C evil spirit was instantly eliminated, leaving Tong Tong holding the unconscious Lin Feng. However, after this battle, Tong Tong has also exhausted her ghostly power. She returned to the ghostly artifact. The system announced victory in battle. Ghost experience plus 1000. Ghost potential plus 1. Lin Feng was awakened by the system notification, thinking to himself how close that was. I almost met my end here. The paper figure monitor found that Lin Feng was fine. Silently, it concealed its form. At this moment, in the Lu City Ghost Encounter Association, on a piece of green bamboo paper, a blue flame similar to the paper figure monitor flickered. The camera zooms out. It is indeed the president of the Lu City branch of the Ghost Encounter Association, President Yen. Through the paper doll, he observed the scene of Tong Tong slaying the spirit monster. He couldn't help but marvel. It was truly incredible. Lin Feng's ghost spirit is really unique. It has two forms. The second form can even boost its combat power. This is definitely not just luck. With his potential, he's probably the legendary spiritual entity. Upon hearing the term spiritual entity, the old man who looked like a butler was taken aback. No way, a spiritual entity throughout his life would be exposed to the headquarters. Lu Cheng simply doesn't have the qualifications to cultivate him. Could it be that there was an oversight during the initial selection? It's no wonder he has such doubts. It's only because the medium is truly too important. They are born with the talent to encounter ghosts. They can control multiple spirits. In the early days of the bizarre era, only mediums could become ghost masters, but they often do not survive for many years. They don't die at the hands of stronger ghosts. It's just dying from the backlash of evil spirits. There are quite a few who even become ghosts themselves. For the past 100 years, spiritual mediums have used blood and life to gradually explore this relatively safe method of mass training demon masters. In the villa area outside Lucheng, Lin Feng calmly walked out of the villa. The uncle awkwardly greeted Lin Feng. I didn't expect he could really solve it. And he handed the villa keys to Lin Feng as well. When I walked to the main building's registration desk, there was already a long line. Amidst the crowd, quiet discussions occasionally arose. You're in the bungalow, right? I also heard about a woman who managed to get an apartment by herself. What do you mean she got an apartment by herself? It took all 5 of us to secure one. I heard there's a guy who overestimated himself and challenged the apartment. As a result, the ghost was killed. He's over there crying. When it was Lin Feng's turn to register, he directly threw out the villa key. The registrar looked a bit incredulous. The people behind Lin Feng were also shocked. This guy single-handedly broke through the villa. How is that possible? Isn't the villa area classified as a sea-level evil spirit? He is all alone. Various exclamations came from behind him. Even the registrar sincerely praised him. You are the first spirit master under 20 to stay in the villa. Here is your ID card. It can be used for communication expenses. Accepting the mission. There are billions inside. The contribution points are your living expenses. You'll have to complete tasks to earn expenses for the next 3 months. Lin Feng calmly took the plaque and left amidst the envious and admiring gazes of the crowd. Learning that Lin Feng lives in a villa, not lacking in teenage role models, Xiao Shui wants to be Lin Feng's girlfriend and live in a mansion together. Besides, renting an apartment costs only 3,000. Many people still need to score. Lin Feng enjoys 10,000 all by himself. So wealthy. Walking down the street, Lin Feng summoned Tong Tong. All of this today is really thanks to him. Lin Feng reached out and patted Tong Tong's head. Affectionately, he said, now that we've got the bonus, let's go shopping. Tong Tong nodded in agreement. Lin Feng's hand froze in midair. Did Tong Tong gain independent awareness? They took a ride to Zhuke Street. He found a shop called Bai Wu Jinji with a clear purpose. Lin Feng had originally thought that even though he received a 10,000 yuan bonus, he needed to save a bit over the next 3 months. Spending about 1,000 would be reasonable. The next moment, he was shocked to see the price of a comforter at 800 yuan. Lin Feng could only pretend that the weather was still quite warm, and think about buying it later if needed. But when he turned his head, Tong Tong gave him a huge surprise. He seemed to have a special talent for shopping. Just these tissues alone cost over 600. It's fine. Lin Feng comforted himself. Stocking up on tissues can't be a bad thing. They'll come in handy. As long as Tong Tong is happy, that's all that matters. Next, Tong Tong's shopping talent is fully displayed. A major shopping spree has arrived in the temporary zone. It doesn't matter whether she can eat it or not. The clothing area is also a focus. No girl can resist the temptation to buy clothes. Strangely, Tong Tong didn't miss out on the armory either. Lin Feng has already resigned to it. Tong Tong must have his own reasons. When Lin Feng thought that was about enough, the system dealt him a blow. Storage space is full. Would you like to spend 500 to upgrade? Until evening, Lin Feng finally returned to the villa with a cart full of goods. Tong Tong was holding a large doll tightly in her arms, staying by Lin Feng's side. This time shopping, we spent over 9,000 directly. But seeing Tong Tong so happy, our bond also increased by 30. Lin Feng didn't feel bad anymore. Back at the villa, Lin Feng started planning for the future. The urgent task is to make some money. Otherwise, I'll soon be in dire straits. Moreover, the association requires completing 12 tasks within 3 months. Only then can we proceed to the formal ghost encounter videos. However, the beginner tasks really don't seem difficult at all. They're all level F evil spirits. The rewards aren't much either. If I want to level up, I'll need to take on tougher challenges. So, Lin Feng directly opened the ultimate task list. The intensity has reached level C. That water ghost mission looks quite suitable, and it's outside the city. It's just right for some exploration. Lin Feng suddenly sat up from the lounge chair. Someone is actually trying to steal the ultimate mission. Feeling helpless, Lin Feng took on the only remaining level C mission, dealing with the starving ghosts in Grain Town. The next day, Lin Feng rushed to Grain Town without stopping. This place in Yifang is quite lively. Outside Lucheng, in the suburbs, there are several lines of defense manned by ghost controllers. They're guarding against large-scale ghost nests, but occasionally some slip through. Yifang is relatively safer. Large factories and warehouses are all here. Seeing that the approaching spirit master was just a child, the people from the grain office were filled with disbelief. However, Lin Feng insisted, so they could only truthfully inform him of the situation. They took out a map and explained that following the route would lead to the cave where the grain was stored. Upon receiving the news, Lin Feng turned and left. The people from the grain office felt he was unreliable, but if he insists on seeking death, it has nothing to do with them. Just wait for the news. This world is shrouded in smog, making it hard for sunlight to penetrate. In the city, special machines are used to disperse the smog, but in the wilderness, there is only half an hour of direct sunlight each day. The ghosts are temporarily hidden. This is referred to as a safety incident. At this time, Lin Feng is weaving through the woods, rushing to the mission location. I only realized after arriving that the so-called grain store entrance is so small, and there are only 2 people at the door. After entering, I found that the grain store was quite expansive inside. The hidden, starving ghosts inside are somewhat unique. They only eat grain and do not harm people. In 1 week, they consume several thousand pounds. Whenever a ghost hunter appears, he hides away and can't be found at all. After understanding the situation, Lin Feng looks at the bow on his chest. Tong Tong, it's your turn to shine. With Lin Feng's summon, Tong Tong makes a dazzling entrance. Seeing Tong Tong appear, Lin Feng got straight to the point. Can you feel the ghostly energy? As soon as Tong Tong appeared, it was as if she sensed something. She silently stared at the entrance. A few of them looked puzzled. What is going on? Is the hungry ghost outside? Tong Tong still showed no response. It seemed she was deep in thought. Suddenly, Tong Tong made a move. She directly activated the evil spirit mode. At the same time, a crack slowly appeared on her forehead. Amidst the astonished gazes of everyone, a crack on the forehead suddenly opened. It turned out to be a third eye. Even the ghost eye soul was disturbed, totally shocked. When did Tong Tong get a new ability? Even I, a ghost hunter, didn't know. What's going on? The other 2 were stunned after Tong Tong activated the evil spirit mode. He was also trembling in fear from Tong Tong's aura. After opening her ghostly eyes, Tong Tong saw through everything. She raised her hand and pointed at a staff member in the granary. The person being pointed at looked a bit confused. He didn't know what to do. What does this have to do with me? What does this ghost want? In the next moment, a creaking sound came from his pocket. Then his pocket began to deform, as if something was trying to break free from it. Lin Feng instantly understood. The hungry ghost was actually inside his pocket. Before Lin Feng and Tong Tong could react, the hungry ghost possessed him directly. In a short time, too many things had happened. By the time everyone reacted, the starving ghost had already pounced. Another staff member was still unclear about the situation, and shouted, "Old Chi, what are you doing?" Lin Feng was ready for battle. As the starving ghost approached, Lin Feng reacted quickly. A kick landed squarely on his face. After undergoing systematic enhancement, Lin Feng's strength was remarkably great. He actually kicked him flying over 10 meters away. However, the matter wasn't over yet. Old Chi was once again manipulated to pounce forward. Lin Feng knew very well that this kick would seriously injure an ordinary person. But Old Chi's movements are agile, and he hasn't been affected at all. It seems the spirit possessing him is very strong. While Lin Feng was still contemplating a countermeasure, he suddenly appeared right in front of him. With a swift motion, he accurately grabbed Old Chi's neck. With a sudden force, Old Chi couldn't help but open his mouth wide. No one expected that Tong Tong would actually reach directly into Lao Chi's mouth. Lin Feng shouted nervously, "Tong Tong." However, Lin Feng didn't say the latter half of his sentence, because he noticed that Tong Tong had forcibly pulled the hungry ghost out. Lao Chi wasn't harmed, but Lin Feng and Tong Tong forgot one thing. The hungry ghost is classified as sea level. Even with Tong Tong in evil spirit mode, her combat power is only at sea level. In a moment of carelessness, the starving ghost slipped out. It flew straight towards Lin Feng and another staff member. In an instant, Lin Feng and the other warehouse staff were engulfed in endless darkness. He was shocked that we were swallowed by the starving ghost. Lin Feng also realized the dire situation. This is probably the eerie truth of the starving ghosts, just as Lin Feng thought. In the next moment, in the pitch-black space, countless mouths appeared, letting out eerie cackles. The ghost domain is an independent space created by ghosts. In here, their power is much stronger. And after entering the ghost domain, you will be cut off from the outside, disappeared in the eyes of the people. Now Tong Tong has lost Lin Feng's presence. Left alone at the original spot, in the ghost realm, the hungry ghost launched an attack on the 2. From an angle unseen by them, a tongue suddenly stretched out. Lin Feng sensed the movement. One side steps aside, but the other person suffers. He can't dodge in time, and gets entangled by the tongue. The tongue captures its prey, and quickly retracts, dragging that person into its mouth. The entire ghost realm echoes with his screams. Lin Feng wanted to save him, but he was powerless. He didn't even know how to protect himself. Suddenly, a massive, bloody mouth appeared beneath his feet. It bit down directly on his left foot. Lin Feng cursed inwardly. He hadn't noticed his footing. He grabbed the golden blade and stabbed downwards. Fortunately, the golden blade has some effect. Lin Feng leaned down and used his other hand to pry open the closed saw blade. He wanted to pull out the correction tool. Unexpectedly, a pair of crimson claws suddenly shot out from the saw blade. Then the crimson claws burst forth violently. The red energy blades scattered everywhere. It was strangely natural. The Tong Tong mode was temporarily imprinted in Lin Feng's mind. Lin Feng didn't expect Tong Tong to forcefully tear apart the sinister desire. Perhaps it was also because the golden blade allowed him to find a breakthrough. A system notification came through, announcing the official death of the starving ghost. Tong Tong gained 800 experience points, victory bonus, and obtained the devouring talent. Seeing that Lin Feng was fine, Tong Tong cancelled the evil spirit mode. A rare look of worry appeared on his calm face. Lin Feng contemptuously patted his head. It's okay, Tong Tong. I'm here. After the issue was resolved, Lin Feng returned to the food office. The two inside were surprised to see Lin Feng return so quickly. I thought he was scared. But Lin Feng's next words made him widen his eyes. The evil spirit has been dealt with, just as someone came to report. The extermination has been confirmed. The instruments can no longer detect any fluctuations in the tricks. Next, Lin Feng received the highest honor. Respected Demon Master. The contribution points will soon be credited to your account. Lin Feng left without looking back. As long as the money is in place, nothing else matters. After returning to the villa, Lin Feng felt a sense of relief looking at the money in the account. After all, being broke is tough. Feeling uncertain. At this moment, the system brought good news. In 3 days, Tong Tong will be promoted to C rank. The reward is that Tong Tong will obtain a ghost jade. Thinking back to the hungry ghost from this morning, it's considered weak among C rank beings. But the ghost jade is really hard to deal with. If you're not careful, it's easy to get hurt. If I could let Tong Tong possess the ghost jade as well, that would be even better. When Lin Feng had some free time, he carefully observed Tong Tong. He found that Tong Tong had grown a lot. His potential has risen to 3 stars. With the abilities of tearing and ghost eyes, he can also activate the evil spirit mode. Additionally, he has gained a devouring talent. 30% chance to gain the opponent's demon cry ability or item. If she possesses the demon domain, Tong Tong will rise to the next level. It seems like we need to level up quickly within 3 days. In order to help Tong Tong reach sea level as soon as possible, Lin Feng took Tong Tong on a crazy spree of earth level quests. After Tong Tong activated her evil spirit mode, dealing with earth level evil spirits was a piece of cake. In just a few days, almost all of the city level tasks in the outer city were swept away. Many Ghostmasters encountered difficulties in completing city level tasks. After struggling to form a team, the tasks were gone. They couldn't get any at all. That night, Tong Tong finally gathered enough experience and leveled up to grade C, gained a unique ghost jade. Lin Feng's status has risen, gained a bond increase of 20, and 1.5 times body enhancement. Looking at Tong Tong in the distance, Lin Feng wonders what Tong Tong's ghost jade is like. I need to think of a way to trigger it and see. At the same time, a mansion in ancient style appeared out of nowhere on a desolate mountain in the 2nd district of Lucheng. It can manifest the ghost jade and reveal the ghosts inside the mansion. It's probably at least a beachy ghost mansion. Not far away, 3 ghost hunters had been watching for a long time. After much deliberation, they decided to go for it. There were 3 beachy ghost hunters on their side. Aren't you afraid of this ghostly jade? Besides, if we find some treasures inside, it could at least be worth millions. What reason do we have not to do it? With a swoosh, the 3 of them had already arrived at the house. Without any hesitation, they stepped right inside. The courtyard was very quiet. Only the sound of the wind could be heard. The most noticeable thing was the old tree, which had grown very thick. It was covered with red ribbons and bells. Near the roots of the tree was a well. The 3 of them, with one particularly bold, searched each room one by one. Strangely enough, the room was completely empty. There was nothing at all. Until the very last one. They violently broke down the door. The bolt couldn't hold them back at all. They never considered that there might be something inside. Caught off guard, the 3 of them were startled. They took a closer look. It turned out to be just a clothes rack, with a bright red wedding dress hanging on it. Once they regained their composure, they got excited. There's something here. There might be some treasure. So they started searching around. The bald guy among the 3 is the most experienced. He carefully observed the surroundings. He said, something's wrong with the opening of the wedding dress. The other 2 replied, our spirit wards haven't reacted at all. That means the ghost is probably not here. We don't need to be that cautious. It could be in the courtyard. Suddenly, the guy with glasses screamed. It seems they discovered something extraordinary. In the pupil of the mirror, there is actually a woman's face. But no one is in front of the dressing table. Even more absurdly, the woman in the copper mirror actually starts putting on makeup by herself. The 3 of them immediately panicked. There is definitely something wrong here. They quickly took out their ghostly tokens. But their ghost tokens had absolutely no response. Not to mention summoning a ghost. Baldy instantly figured it out. This is a rare ghost domain that can block ghost sensing. From the moment they entered without summoning a ghost, they were already in a desperate situation. But by then, it was too late to escape. The door that was kicked open slammed shut. A ghostly figure appeared behind the 3 of them. The once silent house was filled with the 3 of their screams. When all of this was over, the house and its occupants vanished without a trace. The 3 corpses of the secret agents were quite conspicuous. Looking at the bodies on the ground, President Yen spoke, saying he had been tracking the haunted house for half a month. Finally, he has appeared. It seems that what he is looking for is in Lu City. The curious blonde girl asked the president, what exactly is he looking for? President Yen doesn't know the answer either. He only knows that the ghost house never takes the initiative to attack. They are good at escaping. He must have come all the way from Haicheng to Lu City for a reason. I really can't find any other clues. President Yen arranged for people to take the 3 bodies back for analysis. He sent someone to identify the doppelganger and continue tracking the haunted house. He also ordered the official lockdown of Lu City. Before dealing with the haunted house, no one is allowed to leave the city for any ghost-related incidents. Lin Feng outside the city still doesn't know what's happening. He's just a bit curious why there are suddenly more sea-level missions that were so hard to grab before. He didn't think much. Since he was already out of the city, he might as well wait until he earned enough to go back. It was also a good opportunity to test sea-level Tong Tong's new abilities. So, Lin Feng took on another sea-level task, to deal with the evil spirits in the number 3 orchard of Taiping Village. After arriving at the destination, Lin Feng looked up and saw a corpse hanging from a tree. The tongue extended unusually long. Lin Feng's first reaction was, could this evil spirit be a hanging ghost? He had been walking through the orchard for a full half hour. Lin Feng came to a halt, because he realized that the hanging corpse in front of him was clearly the first corpse he encountered when he arrived. Suddenly, Lin Feng felt something moving behind him. Suddenly, he turned around. At some point, a pile of corpses had appeared behind him. Only then did Lin Feng realize he had probably already fallen into the noose ghost's trap. Silently, an endlessly extending braid crept toward Lin Feng. Lin Feng was already on guard. He quickly turned and grabbed at the braid. But what happened next left him stunned. The braid passed right through his hand. But when it wrapped around Lin Feng's neck, the braid gained a body again. Lin Feng was uncontrollably lifted up. Fortunately, Tong Tong appeared just in time. What Lin Feng couldn't grasp, Tong Tong could easily grab. The ghost with the braid saved Lin Feng. This action also angered the hanging ghost. The corpses that had been hanged before rushed towards Lin Feng and Tong Tong under his control. Without saying a word, Tong Tong activated her evil spirit mode. Her combat power surged instantly. Flames ignited on her claws. She directly tore off the hanging ghost's braid. In just a few seconds, the corpses were already within reach. TRA than the Kwakon Matrioko Lion Napo Day. Before they could launch an attack, Tong Tong struck first. A fierce blaze swept forward, turning everything to ashes. The system notified of a battle victory. Obtained ghostly relic. The incomplete ghost god sighed in the wind. Tong Tong didn't manage to avoid the ghost domain. Now, sea-level spirits are already too weak for Tong Tong. Fortunately, I gained other things. The spirit I hold seems to be a source of spiritual tokens. Lin Feng's reputation as a genius has spread. He occupied the villa during the first room division test. It's unavoidable that he will attract attention. Having such strength at a young age, either it's a medium, or it's a ghost spirit, with great potential. If it's the latter, as long as we kill Lin Feng, and get his ghost spirit, it'll be a huge profit. The two schemers, driven by greed, rushed to the villa area. On the road, they casually asked a young boy about Lin Feng's whereabouts. The boy's name was Ping'an. He admired Lin Feng greatly. He told them that Lin Feng's house had been dark. He probably went out of town on a mission. This was simply fantastic news for them. They could go out of the city for a mission. This is enough to prove how powerful Lin Feng's ghost spirit is. And now that the city is sealed off, killing Lin Feng outside the city won't be known by anyone. At that time, we'll use the shroud to trap Lin Feng's ghost spirit, and we'll easily earn millions in contribution points. As for how to find Lin Feng, he already has an idea in mind. At dawn, Lin Feng walked out of the tent. I found Tong Tong had been waiting outside for him all night. When she saw Lin Feng come out, Tong Tong's big eyes were fixed on him without blinking. Her face wore an expression of anticipation. Then, feeling shy, she buried her flushed face in her knees. Lin Feng thought, could it be that she is seeking praise? Tong Tong really is becoming more and more understanding. Lin Feng patted his head. He said, thank you. Tong Tong squinted her eyes. She thoroughly enjoyed Lin Feng's gesture. Then Lin Feng opened his identity badge. It received quite a few messages. Only then did Lin Feng realize what had happened outside the city. No wonder no one was competing with him for tasks. Most importantly, he received news of safety. He learned that two ghost hunters in their 30s were sneaking around, inquiring about him. Lin Feng became alert immediately. But then he thought, the city is so big outside, they might not find him. Wait, Lin Feng suddenly realized something crucial. They're not idiots. Since we've left the city, we must have thought about how to find ourselves. By the way, no one has taken the recent sea-level tasks at all. And once I accept a task, it will disappear from the interface. So they just need to keep an eye on the communicator to know my movements. In that case, Lin Feng certainly wouldn't sit idly by. Lin Feng immediately accepted the sea-level task from Xiaofeng Mountain. But the direction he was heading was towards the market. The two who were on rotation quickly noticed that the task from Xiaofeng Mountain had been taken. They immediately set off for Xiaofeng Mountain. They moved quickly. They wanted to ambush before Lin Feng could arrive. They aimed to gain the upper hand. They didn't expect. Lin Feng had already started fighting the sea-level evil spirit at the mine. With Tong Tong's cooperation, dealing with the sea-level evil spirit was a piece of cake. After taking care of the evil spirit, Lin Feng went to the old man to claim his reward. The old man was puzzled, saying no one had taken this task. He opened the interface and found it had already been claimed. This is Lin Feng's strategy. There's no rule that says you can't deal with evil spirits before taking on a mission. The two people at Xiaofeng Mountain waited for half a day, but there was no sign of Lin Feng. They checked the ID tags, and found that yet another mission had disappeared. That's when they realized something was off. But it's also hard to rule out other reckless people. The Ghostmaster went out of town on a mission. Waiting around here isn't a solution. The two discussed it. They split up. The younger brother stays here. The older brother goes to check the quarry. 2 hours later, the older brother finally arrived at the quarry. Upon learning that a 17 or 18-year-old boy dealt with the ghost in the mine alone, it seems likely that it was Lin Feng. In a panic, he directly grabbed the old man's collar and asked when he left and which way he went. The old man was greatly frightened. He quickly told the truth. About a quarter of an hour ago, he went down this road. He said as he pointed in the direction. Hearing the old man say this, the guy threw the old man to the ground. He hurriedly ran in the direction the old man pointed. After he left, the old man angrily patted the dust off himself. Then he immediately tipped off Lin Feng. This kind of arrogant trash became a ghost hunter, and assumed a lofty attitude. After receiving the tip, Lin Feng realized someone was indeed watching him. It should be noted, 3 hours earlier, Lin Feng, in order to confirm the situation, had directly given the old man 5,000 contribution points. He agreed with him. As long as someone comes to fight, just say he only walked for a quarter of an hour. The old man agreed without hesitation. Looking at the message from the old man, Lin Feng returns to school. Does he think I'm easy to bully? It seems that way now. One of them stayed at Xiaofeng Mountain, and the other came to the quarry. They thought I had just left the quarry not long ago, and were surely waiting for my next task. But in reality, when Lin Feng took on the Cold Water Cave mission, the ghosts in Cold Water Cave had already been killed by Lin Feng. Lin Feng just wanted to lure them to Cold Water Cave. It would be difficult to rendezvous with the people guarding Xiaofeng Mountain in a short time. He himself immediately headed to Xiaofeng Mountain to create a time difference. Meanwhile, the older brother of the two received a message from his younger brother. He learned that the mission at Cold Water Cave had been accepted. He planned to take a shortcut to set up an ambush. Lin Feng understood everything clearly. Since they have intentions towards me, then I'll come and hunt you. Just as Lin Feng was about to reach Xiaofeng Mountain, the bow tie on his chest reacted. Tong Tong couldn't help but summon it to appear. As soon as it appeared, it was in evil spirit mode. Lin Feng hadn't even figured out what was happening when Tong Tong hugged him tightly. Then the red ribbons began to dance, entwine the two people into a ball. Above the sky, in a flash, a red light streaked by. When the red light faded away, Tong Tong untangled the ribbons. Lin Feng watched the red light vanish. Only then did he realize that a powerful enemy had passed by. So Tong Tong hid herself away. After confirming it was safe, Tong Tong canceled the evil spirit mode. A system prompt sounded. Tong Tong awakened the additional ability of the strange domain. She generated an isolation barrier without fully unfolding the anomaly. At the same time, she received a chance to draw a lottery. The lottery will not be delayed. Lin Feng immediately began his gamble with luck. Lin Feng gained the ability to repair the ghost whale. He can repair the ghost whale with the help of ghost spirits, or use other ghost whales to enhance his own. This was the first time Lin Feng held Tong Tong's hand. Usually, only when ghost energy gathers can the ghost whale be touched. Otherwise, it would pass straight through the body. The reason Lin Feng wanted to touch Tong Tong is because he won the ability to repair the ghost cry in a lottery. However, it requires cooperation from a ghost. So, one person and one ghost held the incomplete ghost rope in their hands. Under Lin Feng's guidance, Tong Tong released the ghost cry. Surprisingly, it really repaired the incomplete ghost rope successfully. It can be used to trap ghosts. In this way, the price of the ghost rope has increased several times over. It could provide significant support for Lin Feng's upcoming battles. After all, he hasn't yet confronted the Ghost Master. With the Ghost God, his chances of winning increase. Hot-headed kid. A voice suddenly called out behind Lin Feng. Lin Feng turned his head. A few ghost hunters are approaching. They are following the previous red light. They speak to Lin Feng. You are an apprentice ghost hunter, right? Did you see? They were halfway through speaking when they stopped. They turned directly towards Lin Feng. If I really saw you, I wouldn't still be alive. It's very dangerous outside the city now. You should hurry back to the city. Although I didn't hear everything, Lin Feng still guessed most of it. The ghost spirit that even Tong Tong is afraid of. The Ghost Hunter Association is tracking it. It's most likely the one that caused Lu Cheng to go into lockdown. Lin Feng sighed softly. Fortunately, Hongguang is not in the same direction. Otherwise, I really wouldn't dare to go. I need to act quickly. At the boundary of the room, Chairman Yen is analyzing the situation. The three bodies have no ghostly energy fluctuations, so they died without summoning any spirits. But even an A-class evil spirit would find it difficult to instantly kill three D-class ghost hunters. Just at that moment, a message came through the ID badge. A trace was found. It's moving southwest of Xiaofeng Mountain. Oh, and we also encountered a teenage ghost hunter who didn't return to the city. Please have the school give a special notice about it. President Yen responds. Okay, I'll be there right away. Thinking to myself, a teenager brave enough to leave the city and encounter ghosts. Could it be Lin Feng? That night at Xiaofeng Mountain, Lin Feng did not act rashly, but observed the situation on the ground. Lin Feng analyzes. They are going to ambush us. They will definitely occupy the best vantage point, most likely in that building on the mountain. The younger brother in the duo is talking to his older brother. Why haven't they arrived yet? My hands are itching. The older brother is also puzzled. He just arrived at Coldwater Cave. The evil spirit has already been dealt with, although there were some setbacks. The duo didn't take it to heart. In their eyes, Lin Feng, this despicable person, is already doomed. They even found a buyer, preparing to sell him. They are completely unaware. Lin Feng had already circled behind him. Hearing his words, Lin Feng smiled. Is my system like a big cabbage? I've already figured out how to sell Tong Tong. Then I'll give you Tong Tong. When he felt the movement, he turned around. Tong Tong has activated the evil spirit mode and lunged at him. But his reaction wasn't slow either. He pulled out his own ghost token, quickly summoning a sea-level ghost. The cat-faced witch. With a swoosh, it lunged at Tong Tong, with the cat-faced witch holding her back. The brother of the ancestral duo pulled away. Unexpectedly, Lin Feng was like a shadow, always by his side. Just as he steadied himself, Lin Feng appeared beside him. With a clang, Lin Feng had already drawn his golden blade. The target was clear, aiming straight for the heart. Even if Bai Ji encountered a ghost, she would have no way out. Let out a sharp scream. The cat-faced ghost woman threw herself directly at Tong Tong, rushed toward her ghost master. A roar sounded. She released her own ghost domain, enveloping the ghost master within. Lin Feng snapped out at it. I discovered that I had arrived at a wasteland. There were black cats everywhere on the roof. With a sharp and piercing meow, all the black cats began to move. They completely surrounded Lin Feng and Tong Tong from all directions. At this moment, Tong Tong couldn't sit still. If this continued, she wouldn't be able to handle it. She was afraid Lin Feng would get hurt. So, he unleashed his ghost domain. The ghost-faced cat lady was utterly shocked. The intensity of this eerie power was overwhelming. Lin Feng was both surprised and a little excited. He was finally going to see Tong Tong's ghost domain. When Tong Tong's summoning was complete, an amusement park forcibly pushed its way into the ghost-faced cat lady's ghost domain. Lin Feng was momentarily speechless. Tong Tong really is still a child. Even the ghost orb is just a playground for him. But this doesn't affect Tong Tong's power increase in the playground. With a casual wave of his hand, all the rides in the playground came to life. At this moment, disbelief was written all over the younger brother's face. Lin Feng's ghost spirit has grown to this level? Tong Tong's toys charged recklessly through the ghost granny's trap. Nothing can stop it. Except the cat-faced one. The old witch still has some fight left in her, but she's barely holding on. She can't even handle her own ghostly encounters. Luckily, he isn't weak either. He quickly dodged, avoiding several lethal attacks. But in the end, he still underestimated Tong Tong's ghostly jade. During the retreat, he found himself shrouded in shadows. A strangely shaped clown emerged from the ground, blocking his escape route. This time, he had no plan at all. What awaited him was only the abyssal void. He fell into it. The crunchy clown still seemed somewhat reluctant to part. The witch with a cat face began to crumble under Tong Tong's unreasonable assault. It started to gradually fall apart. At this time, Tong Tong also withdrew her own desires. There was no need to go through great lengths to deal with a cat-faced witch who had no desires. But when the domains of the two spirits completely dissipated, they surprisingly did not return to Xiaofeng Mountain. Instead, I arrived in a strange forest. At the end of the ancient road, there was a building. It was called Jishaon. Two giant hands loomed in front. They blocked the entrance to Jishaon. Lin Feng felt a bit uneasy. Tong Tong stood beside him. Neither dared to deactivate the evil spirit mode. Could this be another layer of twisted desire? A sudden and jarring sound of a wooden fish came. The cat-faced ghost woman appeared instantly. Uncontrollably, she flew towards Jishaon. Tong Tong also suddenly disobeyed Lin Feng's orders, chasing after the cat-faced ghost woman. Lin Feng instantly realized that something was off with the wooden fish. Tong Tong wouldn't disobey my orders. Arriving at the entrance of Jishaon, two giant hands opened a narrow gap for passage. The cat-faced witch rushed in. She even passed through a layer of lightwood. Lin Feng urgently wanted to understand what was happening. Upon closer inspection, he saw a pair of embroidered shoes at the entrance. The embroidered shoes seemed to want to run out. She was once again trapped by the light. At this moment, Tong Tong was also about to pass through the light grave and enter the ritual Zhaoan. Lin Feng saw this. His heart raced. He had a premonition that he couldn't let Tong Tong go in. The ghost rope that was recently repaired was just in time. With a swoosh, the ghost rope, under Lin Feng's control, bound Tong Tong. He pulled him back. In a moment of panic, Lin Feng was too forceful. Tong Tong directly crashed into his arms. The two of them fell to the ground together. When they came to their senses again, Tong Tong had already released the evil spirit mode. She was holding the embroidered shoes that Lin Feng had seen earlier, looking at Lin Feng with a happy face, unaware on the other side. The red light being tracked by the Ghost Hunters Association suddenly turned. Frightening. The members of the Ghost Hunters Association quickly dodged. They thought a battle was about to begin, but unexpectedly, the red light passed through the crowd and flew straight in another direction. The Ghost Hunter Association finally realized they weren't the target. They quickly synced their location to President Yen. On Lin Feng's side, Tong Tong's experience points were maxed out again. Without hesitation, he chose to level up. Tong Tong's rank was upgraded to B level. Lin Feng also received a twofold body enhancement. Tong Tong's skills improved significantly with the rank upgrade. The probability of devouring increased from 30% to 50%. The Ghost Jade has evolved into the Ultimate Ghost Jade. It's not over yet. A new task has appeared in the system. Bind the second Ghost Spirit. Choose a Ghost token and build a bond with it. Until the binding is successful, a benevolent spirit only needs 20 bonds. An evil spirit requires 50 bonds. At this moment, Lin Feng found it hard to describe his feelings. The system is really impressive. Not only does it level up quickly, but it can also increase the ghost spirits. Ordinary ghost masters might not achieve this in decades. Now, Lin Feng actually has quite a few ghostly items, but he definitely needs to choose a powerful one. With that, the mysterious embroidered shoes that were just obtained became Lin Feng's first choice. After confirming, he directly started the bonding quest. He needed to return the embroidered shoes to the bride in red. The system also indicated that the bride in red has a special reaction to the embroidered shoes. She will attack anyone holding the shoes. The host must return them without being killed to complete the quest. Meanwhile, The red light chased by the jade ghost lion flew towards Lin Feng. The perspective zoomed in. This was clearly the bridal gown from the ghostly house earlier. Lin Feng was still searching for the body of the deceased jade ghost lion on Xiaofeng Mountain. After searching around, he only found an identity token. This made Lin Feng unable to help but wondered if he and the cat-faced ghost granny were sucked in by Ji Xiaowen's thoughts. Since then, Lin Feng had no further thoughts. The immediate priority is to find a new battleground. The bride in the wedding dress and another ghost hunter should be arriving soon. Searching around, Lin Feng set his sights on a tree by the cliff. The view here is wide open. He can see everything happening below the mountain. After settling in, Lin Feng pretended to be the deceased ghost hunter He Hai and sent a message to his brother. Lure him over. He Shan was overjoyed to receive the news. Now Lin Feng has nowhere to escape. Millions of contribution points are waiting for him. After finishing this, Lin Feng lay down on a tree branch and fell asleep. Anyway, there's danger. Tong Tong could appear at any time. At this moment, Hashan was full of enthusiasm. The closer he got to Xiaofeng Mountain, the more excited he became. He didn't notice at all that a paper airplane, gliding without wind, was observing everything behind him. Through the paper airplane, President Yan learned that someone was plotting against Lin Feng. He immediately sent a paper figure to inform him. After all, it would take him quite some time to get there. The blonde girl was informed of the situation. I can't help but exclaim. The bride ghost also went in that direction. And there's a ghost master chasing him. Is this Lin Feng a disaster body? In the early morning, a paper airplane flew on its own to the boy sleeping in the tree. The airplane gently poked Lin Feng's cheek. A voice came from the airplane. Wake up, Lin Feng. He squinted and glanced. Whose plane is so inconsiderate? It's making noise early in the morning and disturbing my sleep. In the next moment, the plane transformed into a person. It was the paper figure overseeing Lin Feng's spirit summoning ritual. Before Lin Feng could speak, it said, I am here to warn you of the impending danger. Lin Feng looked up at him and asked, are you talking about that bridal ghost? The paper figure was stunned. How do you know you've seen him? And that's not all. There's also a B-class ghost encounter. It wants to kill you. It'll be here soon. Lin Feng wiped a cold sweat. I accidentally let it slip. I can only say that I saw myself from a distance. Besides, encountering ghosts means being hunted. I know about this matter myself. The paper person interrogated me in return. You don't really think you can handle it, do you? My true self is on the way. This paper person can't fully protect you. Lin Feng ignored it. Jump down from the branch. Take out He Hai's ID card. I've received news from Yishan. I've already reached the foot of the mountain. Where do we meet? The paper figurine inspector quickly caught up. He said to Lin Feng, what are you going to do? Don't do anything reckless. But Lin Feng's performance is just too calm. He seemed to know everything from the very beginning, and it looks like he deliberately lured He Shang over. The paper man asked curiously, has your ghost spirit already evaded? Lin Feng simply replied. This stirred up tremendous waves in the paper man's heart. What kind of growth rate is this? If it's not a psychic entity, it must be a once-in-a-century hidden spirit. Lin Feng wasn't bothered by the shock of the paper doll surveillance. He confidently stood at the mountain peak and said, everything is ready. Now it's time to wait for the prey. Hashan, who was rushing forward, received the news that Lin Feng was still sleeping in the pavilion. You go find me under the big tree at East Mountain first. But when Hashan arrives, this place is empty. Upon closer inspection, there is an embroidered shoe at the base of the tree. At a glance, it's clear that it is unusual. Keshin is puzzled about what's going on. Where is everyone? What's up with the shoe? Curiously, Keshin picked up the embroidered shoes and examined them. In the distance, among the haystack, the paper airplane asked Lin Feng, are you saying these embroidered shoes are what the bride in the wedding dress has been searching for? Lin Feng replied, that's right. It seems to be a component of the wedding dress. That bride should be coming soon. Now, his target has become that fool. Suddenly, Tong Tong appeared directly in her evil spirit mode. The ghost shadow skill wrapped both Lin Feng and the paper plane. Lin Feng realized, the bride in the wedding dress had come. Sure enough, a red light flashed in the distant horizon. It quickly flew towards the summit of Xiaofeng Mountain. Hashan was also a seasoned ghost encounter expert. He immediately noticed the situation. He directly sent out his weapon. Who would have thought her lower body moved so fast? In a flash, her figure disappeared and reappeared in front of Hishan. Lin Feng, who was hiding, watched with widened eyes. This ghost woman's strength might be much greater than he had imagined. With a buzzing sound, the sinister aura unfolded. Hishan was pulled into it. The haunted house suddenly appeared in Dongshan. This is an eerie manifestation. I am recovering from the shock in front of me. Lin Feng suddenly realized, hey, where did the paper airplane go? Lin Feng, we have arrived. As the voice fell, the members of the Ghost Encounter Association appeared in Lin Feng's line of sight. Looking at the woman in front of him, Lin Feng couldn't believe it. This is the president of the Ghost Encounter Association. Previously, Lin Feng had only seen paper figures. He thought the president of the Ghost Encounter Association in Lucheng should be a middle-aged man in his 40s. President Yan smiled slightly, not taking it to heart. She just thought Lin Feng was complimenting her youth. After a brief rest, Lin Feng and a few others set out to explore the haunted house. They could just use the power of the Ghost Encounter Association to help them complete the task of returning the embroidered shoes. But it seems they made a wrong decision. To avoid alerting the enemy, they didn't summon any spirits, including Lin Feng. Arriving in the courtyard, it indeed looks festively decorated. This is the rhythm of a wedding approaching. A group is about to start exploring, when President Yan stops them. Wait, let me check first. With that, he took out a paper crane and blew on it. The 1,000 paper cranes suddenly took flight, but in the next moment, they gradually shattered and dispersed. Chairman Yan immediately sensed something was wrong. He told everyone to try summoning their spirits. At that moment, everyone panicked. No matter how they urged their spirit tokens, their spirits remained completely still. Only Lin Feng remained calm and composed. A hint of doubt lingered. Can't sense the spirits. President Yan waved his hand. Everyone, hurry and leave here. When they ran to the door, they found the door was gradually closing, though they didn't know when it started. With a loud bang, everyone was completely trapped inside. Two on Myoji tried to force the door open. However, it was useless. The door did not budge. Just as they were about to try again, a scream was heard, drawing everyone's attention. Ishan flew out of a room window. The large knife he had was nowhere to be found. After the broken window ring, death does not diminish. It crashed straight into the big door. This finally stopped the death. Then he slowly fell down along the door, dragging a long trail of blood behind him on the door. From now on, there was no more movement. However, no one is paying attention to Hashan now, because the main character has appeared. It's the evil spirit. The bride in a wedding dress is floating in the courtyard. It has attracted everyone's attention. Encountering this ghost jade that can isolate spirits, even the people from the Ghost Master Association would panic. After all, the spirits are their greatest reliance. President Yan reassured them. Don't worry, if it really doesn't work, I will sacrifice myself as ordered. I will forcibly summon Xiaobai. Lin Feng tried to jump out. If I can temporarily separate the ghost realm, can you summon the ghost spirits? President Yan replied. In theory, yes. But how do you isolate it? Lin Feng doesn't waste time. He directly summons Tong Tong. The people from the Ghost Master Association are astonished. This guy actually isn't suppressed. Lin Feng himself is quite surprised. This is all thanks to the system. After Tong Tong appears, it unfolded its own wicked desires, forcefully carving out a small piece of territory in the eerie prison of the bride in the wedding gown. It pulled Chairman Yan and Xiao Yun beside Lin Feng into it. The bride in the wedding gown suddenly rushed over. She wanted to interrupt Tong Tong. Two voices, Feng Yu and Xiaobai, sounded. Following closely were several white feathers and a long spear. Rushing straight at the bride in the wedding gown, a fierce explosion erupted in the arena. The others could only watch from the sidelines. When the smoke cleared, the bride in the wedding dress was unscathed. She was pinned to the ground by a long spear around her. Phoenix feathers circled in the air, guarding the movements of the bride in the wedding dress. He is a C-class benevolent spirit. A golden little angel's appearance. Little Bai is a B-class benevolent spirit, dressed in a dramatic costume, holding a long spear, aiming at the bride in wedding attire. Seeing that the bride remains unscathed, Little Bai takes the initiative to step forward, continuously thrusting the spear forward, so fast that he leaves an afterimage in others' eyes. The bride in wedding garments is also quite formidable. With agile dodges, she evades all attacks. Feng Yu seizes the moment and fires golden fish to assist. The bride in wedding garments no longer holds back. Several red ribbons fly out, stopping all the fish in midair. The battlefield is in utter chaos. Both sides are equally matched in the fight. Evenly matched. But Lin Feng still has a secret weapon. He has taken an overwhelming advantage. Now is the perfect time to deliver the shoes. Lin Feng took out the embroidered shoes. The bride in the wedding dress suddenly stopped moving. At the same time, Lin Feng ordered everyone to stop attacking immediately. President Yan turned around in disbelief. What is this guy saying? Lin Feng still insists that we have gained the upper hand over him. Trust me, I'm not wrong. As Feng Yu and Xiao Bai's attacks approached, the bride in the wedding gown showed no reaction. President Yan and Xiao Yun finally believed Lin Feng. They stopped attacking. And Lin Feng, amidst everyone's astonished gazes, holding the embroidered shoes in hand, slowly walked towards the bride in the wedding dress. After reaching the bride in the wedding dress, the bride extended a red ribbon and took the embroidered shoes. System prompt, task completed. Bride's bond and mistake added. Chairman Yan, in disbelief, opened his mouth. I don't think he wants to treat this guy as the second ghost spirit. Lin Feng replied. That's right, President Yan still wants to persuade him. This is an evil spirit, and there are such terrifying supernatural encounters. It's too dangerous. But halfway through the conversation, he stopped speaking. Because he had received the wedding dress of the embroidered shoes bride, the momentum around him began to strengthen continuously. However, the kick would condense the ghostly energy into a beam of light. It shot straight into the sky. Only the bride in the wedding dress with the embroidered shoes is in her complete form. Having made up for the missing parts, he directly advanced to an A-level evil spirit. President Yan could no longer remain calm. The current bride in the wedding dress is simply beyond their capability to handle. Lin Feng also didn't expect the bride in the wedding dress to become A-level. In this way, a bond of 15 points is far from enough. The bride in her wedding dress merely lifted her foot in embroidered shoes, and it put everyone in the Ghost Hunter Association on high alert. This is an A-level spirit with terrifying, heaven-defying desires. They were about to make a move, but realized they were already outside the ghost realm. The others were still trying to figure out what happened. President Yan realized something was wrong right away. The bride in the wedding dress expelled everyone from the ghost domain. Only Lin Feng was left behind. President Yan could only order the others to leave first. On the inside, he kept a close watch. At the same time, he instructed them not to leak the bride's strange abilities. Lin Feng suddenly discovered. The vast courtyard is left with only oneself. Even the bride in her wedding dress has disappeared. Fortunately, the system prompt has sounded. Bond task 2. Enter the bedroom to help the bride in her wedding dress comb her hair. Reward, bond plus 15. According to the system prompt, Lin Feng pushed open the door. The bride in her wedding dress was indeed inside, sitting quietly in front of the vanity. Only the red veil is missing. The situation is somewhat eerie. Moreover, I can't see my head at all. How am I supposed to do my hair? Lin Feng steeled himself and stepped forward. He discovered in the mirror. He could see the bride in her wedding gown. The woman in the mirror is stunningly beautiful, but tears streamed down her face. The dignified hairpiece highlights her allure. In the lower right corner of the table, Lin Feng discovered a broken half of a wooden comb, but at least it can still be used. So he picked up the comb and looked at the bride in the mirror, slowly adjusting the position of the wooden comb. As he combed down, Lin Feng was surprised to find there was still a tactile sensation. As Lin Feng combed the bride's hair again and again, the bride's corpse gradually appeared. Lin Feng looked up at the mirror again. Sure enough, the bride's hairstyle had smoothed out quite a bit. The trace of tears disappeared, replaced by a stunningly beautiful smile. Ding. System notification. Task completed. Bond added. Mistake. Task 3. Stop the bride in the wedding dress from marrying. Reward. Bond plus 20. As the system's voice faded, the bride in the mirror slightly parted her red lips. A puff of pink smoke emerged outside the mirror. This smoke spread wildly. It enveloped the entire room. Lin Feng, trapped within, could see nothing. Only soft whispers echoed in his ears. The first uncle spoke of endings. The second uncle held his case level. The third uncle flew together like a pair of wings. But when it came to fourth uncle, something was off. Listening to it made people feel a bit uneasy. Fourth uncle shed tears in the yellow springs. When the thick smoke cleared, Lin Feng opened his eyes again. The scene before him had changed drastically. Lin Feng immediately reacted. Could this be the era of the bride in the wedding dress? While Lin Feng was still in a daze, the beautiful woman sitting at the vanity turned around and joyfully asked Lin Feng, "My lord, does this wedding dress look good? I sewed it myself." Lin Feng was momentarily taken aback. "You are a woman, and I am Xuanhua." Zimo, are you really stunned? Xianhua is in her prime now. She is the eldest daughter of the wealthy Xian family in Yangzhou. After saying that, he handed the wooden comb in his hand to Lin Feng. "Here, take this. We each get half. Don't forget about the engagement we talked about." It was then that Lin Feng finally reacted. "Xianhua calls himself Zimo." He asked in confusion, "Wait a minute, what did you call me?" Xianhua thought Lin Zimo was teasing him. He said with a chuckle, "You haven't married in yet. You can't call me my lord so casually." Young Master Lin. Lin Feng looks at the bronze mirror and sees his current appearance clearly. Only then does he realize that he is now Lin Zimo, the third young master of the Lin family from Yangzhou Academy, the noisy childhood friend. His soul has traveled into wedding clothes. Looking at the wooden comb in the hands of the bridegroom, Lin Feng is a bit confused. But if she is going to marry me, how can I stop her from getting married? It wasn't until Lin Feng had dinner with Xian Yu, the eldest son of the Xian family, that he learned the truth. Just yesterday, General Wang Wei had already sent someone to the Xian family to arrange a marriage with Xianhua. The 8th of the month is the date set. Lin Feng finally understood that stopping the marriage meant this. At the same time, Xian Yu gave Lin Feng an invitation. It was called an invitation, but it was just a letter addressed to Lin Feng in the guise of an invitation. ZMO had not yet replied. Please forgive me. Only learned about this 7 days ago. The family has already arranged the wedding with General Guang Wei. It concerns the family's interests. I tried every possible way to refuse, but my words had no weight. It was of no use. I even attempted to escape, but was imprisoned by my own parents in my room. I couldn't go out day or night. Now, I think of the wedding dress I made for you with my own hands. Yet I must wear it, and marry another. My heart is filled with despair. Since there's no other way, I only wish you peace for life. General Song holds high rank and power. Do not act rashly. Remember. Looking at this letter, Lin Feng's thoughts were a whirlwind. In order to cling to power, he would sacrifice his own child. What is the difference between this and parents who abandon their children on the street? Indeed, in any era and any class, human selfishness is universal. Children are merely tools for parents to satisfy their vanity. Lin Feng angrily slammed the table and exclaimed, "Wait for me. I will never allow this tragedy to happen." On the day of the wedding, Lin Feng did not hesitate to mix in with the wedding procession. He wanted to see what kind of person this general, who forcefully took the girl, really was. But when the breeze stirred the lotus, Lin Feng looked through the gap and saw that there was only an empty suit of armor in the sedan chair. Lin Feng curiously asked the person next to him if they knew why the groom hadn't come to fetch the bride. The person beside him replied, "You mean General Song? He actually wanted to come, but he died on the battlefield 3 days ago. A wedding is still a wedding, but now it's a ghost wedding. No wonder someone is waving a white flag to perform a ritual. No wonder paper money is floating everywhere. I know about this matter." Lin Feng was even more furious, his teeth itching with anger. They actually want Xianhua to marry a dead man. Moreover, isn't a ghost marriage supposed to be held between the dead? Can a living person really participate? Xianhua, waiting for the wedding procession, was dressed in bridal attire. She looked stunningly beautiful. The nurse approached and handed her a bowl of peanut and red date porridge. It symbolizes the early blessing of children. Then Xianhua said to Miss, "It's time to set off." Xuanhua's parents looked at her with reluctance, yet they said nothing more. Xianhua sighed. She immediately drank the porridge. She knew that there was no possibility left with Lin Zimo. Lin Feng was eager to tell Xianhua the news, and didn't care about revealing anything. He charged straight ahead to Xianhua. Seeing him safe and sound, Lin Feng breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he was okay. Hearing Lin Feng's voice, Xianhua suddenly lifted the veil. "Zimo, how did you get here?" "I'm here to take you away," Lin Feng said firmly. Xianhua could no longer suppress the feelings of grievance and longing in her heart. More than anything, she felt touched. Tears streamed down her cheeks. But at that moment, Xuanhua's father jumped out. "Get lost, kid. Don't come here and cause trouble." Lin Feng didn't care. He grabbed Xianhua and ran. He had already prepared a carriage nearby. They could escape as long as they got on it. But at the last moment, Xianhua let go of Lin Feng's hand. He coughed uncontrollably. Then blood appeared at the corner of his mouth. He fell softly to the ground. Lin Feng hurried forward. He didn't understand why this was happening. Xianhua, no matter how foolish, understood. That bowl of porridge was poisoned. His tone was weak. In confusion, I asked my parents, "Why did the old man only just say sorry?" "General Songhua died in battle the day before yesterday. Only a ghost can be married to him. If it weren't for your mother's soft heart, you probably wouldn't be here now." After Lin Feng heard this, his emotions erupted. "On what basis do you decide the fate of Xianhua? Where's the antidote? Hand it over to me." But the current Lin Feng is not a ghost master. He's just a frail scholar. Lin Zimo was easily subdued by the housekeeper. He was pinned to the ground, helplessly shouting Zimo's name. Such a huge event. No one cares about it at all. Only Lin Zimo. Only he knows that Xianhua ultimately couldn't make it. A few people, under Xuanhua's father's orders, brought the coffin in. Ironically, there was a character for happiness pasted on it. Then Lin Feng angrily cursed these despicable traitors who would stop at nothing for profit. But ultimately, it was useless. He was thrown directly into the well by the servants. Xianhua was also put into the coffin. They were preparing to hand it over to the wedding procession. However, when the coffin appeared in front of everyone was greatly shocked. A red figure hovered above the coffin. A giggle escaped his lips. Then, he gave no one a chance. The red silk ribbons danced wildly. They directly buried everyone present. Lin Feng lay helplessly at the bottom of the well. His vision began to blur. The pain was so intense he couldn't breathe. He murmured to himself, "The sky outside is so red. It's like your wedding dress." Is this noisy scene the final outcome? Opening his eyes again, he sees a playful young girl blinking her big eyes at him. At this moment, Lin Feng is only 6 years old, already abandoned by his parents. He has always lived a life of hunger and cold. The little girl took the initiative to approach and called out, "Tong Tong, what's your name?" He casually took out a piece of bread and handed it to Lin Feng. Lin Feng's eyes went wide. They clearly didn't know each other. Yet he gave away such a precious piece of food. Lin Feng quickly finished the bread. He had been hungry for too long. Look at Lin Feng's state. Tong Tong's big eyes sparkled with stars. She asked her grandfather, "Can I raise him?" In the end, Lin Feng returned to that slightly worn home with Tong Tong and her grandfather. Upon learning that Lin Feng was discarded, due to the ghostly mischief, having no nurturing value, his parents abandoned him. Tong Tong took the initiative to hug Lin Feng. "From now on, I will be your mom." Lin Feng could no longer hold back his tears. He whispered, "Thank you, Tong Tong." Holding each other, Lin Feng noticed something was off. He suddenly opened his eyes. Tong Tong, in her demonic form, pulls him into her embrace. It turns out Tong Tong unleashed her dark desires, pulling Lin Feng into them. Only then was he freed from the illusion. Watching the commotion before him, Lin Feng is filled with emotion. Now, he no longer possesses human consciousness. Jianghua ignores Lin Feng and Tong Tong, walked straight out the door. As I stepped outside, a red veil flew in from nowhere. The entire bizarre scene also changed. Suddenly, Lin Feng heard the sound of jingling. Isn't that the soul bell of the shaman during a wedding? Could it be that if I look in the direction of the wedding dress, there really is a ghost calling? Lin Feng's guess was correct. Marriage is Xianhua's inner demon. Tong Tong and Lin Feng ran in front of Xianhua. They wanted to break this cycle, but there was a layer of light curtain at the entrance. Tong Tong couldn't get through at all. Lin Feng couldn't either. Outside the light curtain, Lin Sheng continued to attract Xianhua to board the ghostly call. There was no other choice. Lin Feng could only rush in front of Xianhua to block him. Have you forgotten everything that happened in the past? Xianhua did not intend to hurt Lin Feng, but he also had no plans to stop. He stepped directly past Lin Feng and continued forward. Lin Feng realized, with his current ties, he is still not able to control the noise. Suddenly, he thought of a method. That was worth a try. He tied himself with a rope and jumped into the well from his memory. Sure enough, he found Lin Zimo's body in the well, as well as that half-wooden comb. There's no time to reminisce. Lin Feng hurried into the noisy boudoir. He found the other half of the wooden comb. When the two halves of the comb were joined together, it buzzed. It emitted ripples. When the ripples touched Xianhua, he stopped in his tracks. He turned to look at Lin Feng, who was holding a wooden comb. Lin Feng seized the opportunity. Do you still remember this token? In Xuanhua's view, Lin Feng's figure gradually overlapped with Lin Zimo. He reached out and took the comb. A human shape appeared beneath the empty wedding dress. 2 lines of tears ran down his face. Xianhua finally woke up. But to Lin Feng's surprise, Even so, Xianhua still did not give up on his previous plan. He turned around and charged at the ghostly cry again. Lin Feng wanted to stop him, but it was too late. He had already broken through the light barrier. The ghostly cry was right in front of him. Under the swirling threads, the ghostly whale quickly fell apart. Just as Lin Feng arrived at the door, he happened to see Xianhua dismembering the ghostly whale. He couldn't help but marvel. How fast. But in the next moment, the ghostly whale returned to its original form. The redstone grew arms and legs. Start the attack. If it weren't for Tongtong's timely reaction, intervening to block Gui Jiao's assault, Lin Feng might have inadvertently fallen for his tricks. However, physical attacks are completely ineffective. The damaged areas are visibly recovering at an alarming rate. Lin Feng feels a deep resentment. This guy isn't afraid of physical attacks at all. Suddenly, Lin Feng thought of something. It's made of paper. It can be set on fire. So Lin Feng took out a Molotov cocktail from his personal space. He threw it directly into the carriage. The fire instantly engulfed the ghostly cry. Tongtong acted in time. A light barrier formed, helped Lin Feng withstand the flames. After the great fire, the entire ghostly hull was left in ruins. However, things were not that simple. In just a few seconds, the ghostly hull transformed once again. This time, it even took on a human form. Its body was pure white. Just a glance is enough to scare an ordinary person to death. The first target after transforming and screaming is naturally the commotion. But the commotion isn't so easy. Being engulfed by the ghostly green flames in hand, the commotion appears incredibly fragile under the screaming presence. But his ghost fire withstood the attack of the ghostly hull. This is not over yet. The uproar surged with power. The flames in his hands surged violently. The ghost fire adhered to the ghostly hull. It caused him irreversible damage. Seeing that the ghost fire was effective, Lin Feng was born. Tongtong helped Xianhua restrain the ghost's actions. The noise transmits the ghost fire through silk threads. Regarding Lin Feng's orders, Tongtong is always meticulous. She directly wraps the ghost in threads, restricting the ghost's movements. The noise hovers in midair. Countless threads shoot out, all tied to the wailing ghost. The next moment, greenish flames spread out, completely covering the wailing ghost. As the system notification appeared, task completed. When bridal bond +2 with the bride in red appeared, Lin Feng finally breathed a sigh of relief. At last, the bond with the bride in red was over. It has reached 50. The system has successfully bound the bridal gown bride to Lin Feng as the second ghost spirit. Under the guidance of the system, Lin Feng sent out a drop of blood. He prepared to give it to Xianhua. But before that, he needed to let Xianhua show her face. So Lin Feng stepped forward and lifted Xianhua's red veil. That breathtaking face appeared before Lin Feng again. Then Lin Feng bit his finger until it bled. He was ready to offer his blood. Unexpectedly, Xianhua directly took Lin Feng's hand. She put his bleeding finger in her mouth. After sucking it clean, she even stuck out her tongue to lick it. What guy could handle this situation? The scream couldn't hide Xianhua after all. If it weren't for Xuanhua's intervention, his life would have been in danger. He was originally at the final stage of the Ghost Master ranking assessment. All he needed to do was stand on the assessment platform and summon his ghost spirit. The device would automatically measure the spirit's level. Accordingly, it would determine the ghost attendance level. The first to appear was a fat man named No Future, tightly clutching a doll in hand. But the evaluation board only gave a rating of love. Unqualified. Second place goes to Gao Shang. His ghostly scarecrow. Just its appearance is quite unusual. Sure enough, it ranked high. The host even praised, really good. Next up is Lin Feng. He is the only remaining graduate on the field. Gao Shang watched Lin Feng take the stage. He sneered and said if he could pass, I'll eat the armored vehicle. As for Lin Feng himself, he was just thinking of going through the motions. There's no need to be too ostentatious. Just call Tong Tong out and that's enough. With a swish, the powerful devil may cry appearing on stage stunned everyone present. But Lin Feng's classmates were still praying for him. It has to be AC rank. Let my brother Lin make a remarkable debut. But no one expected a conspicuous B to pop up on the big screen. The audience was unusually quiet, because they couldn't imagine a fresh graduate having a B rank spirit. They would rather believe it was a problem with the machine. However, what the robot says next will put the final nail in the coffin. Yes, you heard that right. It's a B level. This is a level that has never appeared during the student evaluation stage. However, just when it was supposed to be the audience's moment of astonishment, a figure appeared behind Lin Feng. Caught off guard, he was stabbed. As for why Tong Tong didn't make a move, it's because he was already tied up by the corpse binding. This person clearly came prepared. He excitedly said, Lin Feng, ha ha ha. I finally caught you. But this face is obviously so unfamiliar. Lin Feng has never seen him before, until he tore off the mask, revealing that terrifying face. Lin Feng finally understood why. This was clearly Hishan, severely injured in the haunted house. The same incident. A malevolent spirit was protruding from Hishan's shoulder, looking extremely harmful. It was indeed his half-body ghost. The ultimate evil spirit is a toe bone. The youthful body resembles a writhing snake. Its tip opens, filled with sharp teeth. Inside, there is also a miniature human head. Lin Feng pressed it to his own intention. At that time, he thought Hishan was dead. Unexpectedly, he actually escaped in the chaos. He even turned into this ghostly form. The sudden incident scared everyone away. A small group in the stands was still worried about Lin Feng's condition. Elder Gu, with his sharp eye, immediately saw that this guy was forcibly coexisting with a high-level evil spirit. He doesn't have long to live. He's in extreme danger now. So he ordered the other spirits to protect the safety of the audience and students. The spirit Qingqian rushed forward without hesitation. An axe-like figure transformed into a massive headless body. It raised the axe, preparing to strike down. The corpse oil remained unfazed. It opened its mouth and sprayed a thick green poison. Then, the body suddenly swung. It directly knocked everyone in the arena away. Hishan did not continue the pursuit. He had already been consumed by the evil spirit. All I could think about was getting revenge on Lin Feng. The corpse oil beast suddenly charged at Lin Feng. It even spat out a sharp spike from its mouth. Seeing the corpse oil just inches away, Lin Feng's face was filled with hatred. The one who's going to die is you. As he spoke, he pulled out a wooden comb from his chest. The next second, countless red threads shot out. The attack of the corpse oil skeleton was intercepted. This isn't over yet. The red threads hanging from the sky entangled Hishan along with the corpse oil skeleton. Everyone was astonished at what that red figure was. Suddenly, with a loud noise, Hishan was directly crushed on the spot. A green mist began to fall in the juice field. The commotion hanging high in the air was also recognized. Isn't this the evil spirit that caused the lockdown in Lucheng? Does anyone else want to face such a terrifying evil spirit? They don't want to die, do they? Xianhua ignored the others. He flew towards Lin Feng. Without his control, Tong Tong also broke free from the body bag. The system prompts, battle victory. Earned 3,000 experience points and received a body bag. In the confused gazes of the crowd, Lin Feng slowly walked up to the evaluation stage. The anxious Tong Tong and the unprepared Xianhua stood obediently behind Lin Feng. The venue fell silent again. No one knew how to speak up. They couldn't understand why the A-level evil spirit did not attack Lin Feng. In fact, they had their suspicions long ago. It was just hard to accept. The host is so scared that his legs are weak. He kneels down on the ground to ask, Lin Feng, is this bride your second ghostly spirit? Lin Feng, helpless, still doesn't hide it. He openly admits it. The scene falls into silence again. But soon after, there's a gust of overwhelming wind. Lin Feng, well done. So young. And so dazzling. What a genius. The host, having regained composure, is once again full of enthusiasm. I officially announce that Lin Feng has been rated as an A-level spirit master. Lin Feng stands alone on the evaluation stage. Tong Tong and Xianhua are on either side, enjoying the cheers they deserve. As for the rankings of others, it no longer matters. However, after this, Lin Feng's days won't be as easy. His villa is surrounded by people. Some come to pay respects, some come to make brothers, and some come to celebrate the new year early. For a whole 7 days, Lin Feng hasn't had a good night's sleep. His own villa has become a tourist attraction. Although he could hide in the ghost domain, staying there for too long is unsettling. Whenever he goes out shopping, he gets mobbed. The Empty Association is furious, but they can't do anything about it. But this part is actually quite nice. So much money in hand. I really want to go out and spend it. Tong Tong also looked worried. There was no chance to shop at all. Only noise. She gazed affectionately at Lin Feng. Outside the villa, the host of the original rating event was introducing it to everyone as the legendary Lin Feng's former residence. Meeting the Ghost Master Association members was quite frustrating. There was simply no way to maintain order. It seems that Lucheng Lin Feng can't stay here any longer. Coincidentally, President Yan is going on a business trip to the Alliance branch in Haicheng. He plans to take Lin Feng along. After all, that place is one of the 5 major central cities. It's a perfect opportunity for him to gain some experience. This is the first time Lin Feng has heard about the concept of a central city. President Yan patiently explained to him. The Ghost Encounter Alliance has a total of 5 branches. Haicheng is the eastern branch. The other branches are located in the west, south, north, and center. They are all in the largest central city. Haicheng is the core of the east. There are many high-level ghost encounterers. There are also high-level ghostly artifacts. It can also be taken to auction. Hearing this, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. In the noisy ghost realm, there happen to be quite a few ghostly items. They should be worth quite a bit. Seeing that Lin Feng was so interested, Chairman Yan quickly finalized the matter. Then it's settled. Hurry back and pack your things. We'll depart the morning after tomorrow. 2 days later, Lin Feng and President Yan boarded the car heading to Haicheng. The two cities are hundreds of miles apart, and they often pass through uninhabited areas. The ghosts in those areas are terrifying. Even B-level ghost tamers usually avoid them. But the Ghost Tamer Association has designated safe routes. Lin Feng sighed. This truly reflects the advantages of being a member. I have to say, the knowledge taught in school is really limited. There is so much in this world worth exploring. Looking at the sunset ahead, Lin Feng muttered to himself, Haicheng, I'm coming. The convoy to Haicheng finally set off after 5 hours, arrived at the border between Lucheng and Haicheng. Chairman Yan leaped, jumped off the car, and spoke into the intercom, saying 0349 has arrived at the dock. A submarine surfaced. This is the Ghost Hunter Association's exclusive submarine, the Reaper. Although traveling on land is faster, but being underwater is relatively much safer. Moreover, the cabin has been thoroughly cleaned. There's no need to worry about being detected by water ghosts. In such a comfortable situation, Lin Feng fell asleep in Chairman Yan's container. He slept so deeply that he unconsciously used Chairman Yan's big white rabbit as a pillow. Chairman Yan calmly spoke to Lin Feng. You bumped into me. Lin Feng suddenly woke up. He scratched his head awkwardly. He hadn't slept well for a week. Ever since he became famous, his villa was surrounded by people every day and night. Not long after that, the two arrived in Haicheng. President Yan introduced Lin Feng. There are 8 million people here. There are also many high-level ghost hunters. Most of the spiritual entities in the eastern region are here. There are also more missions than in Lucheng. This is my base. You can temporarily stay in the guest room here. After settling down at President Yan's house, Lin Feng took out the ghostly item he wanted to sell. He asked Tong Tong to help force the spirit out. Under Tong Tong's ghostly wail, the spirit of Baijishan jumped out. President Yan's face was filled with shock. An ownerless Baijishan spirit. Where did you get this from? Lin Feng gestured. A pile of ghost spirits appeared in Tong Tong's arms again. He said they were all found in the ghost prison of the bride in the wedding dress. There are also 5 similar ones. How much can they sell for? Even President Yan can't close his mouth in disbelief. Ownerless benevolent spirits are extremely rare. They are mostly cultivated by ghost masters from a young age. There's no market value outside at all. After the shock, Chairman Yan told Lin Feng to rest early. I'll help you contact the auction house tomorrow. After several days, Lin Feng finally enjoyed a peaceful night once again. Soaking in the bathtub, he felt incredibly comfortable. He looked at his identity card. Haidong really has a lot of high-level tasks. There are also special tasks with association permissions. In this way, Xianhua and Tong Tong will be able to level up quickly. Speaking of Xianhua, she rushed towards Lin Feng in her bright red wedding dress. Lin Feng shyly turned around. Xianhua, however, didn't mind at all. She directly walked into the bathtub, half pushing and half yielding. Lin Feng experienced for the first time the feeling of being bathed by a goddess. It was inevitably a bit awkward. Xianhua, on the other hand, was enjoying herself. After walking out of the bathroom, the blush on Lin Feng's face still hadn't faded. The system notified that Xianhua received a bathing experience reward of plus 50. The household bond coincidentally bumped into President Yan, who was making coffee. He looked confused. What's with Lin Feng's indescribable blush? Even though it's an unfamiliar environment, Xuanhua's habit of clinging to Lin Feng hasn't changed at all. As soon as Lin Feng falls asleep, he follows him to bed. But Lin Feng genuinely feels that opening his eyes to such a stunning face up close. This feeling isn't bad at all. In a moment of emotion, Lin Feng took the initiative to kiss Xuanhua's forehead. Ding, you kissed Xianhua once. Experience overtime. While Lin Feng was asleep, kissing Xianhua, a fierce battle was taking place in a dilapidated thatched cottage near Haicheng. A team of ghost hunters from Haicheng had a hard time dealing with a troublesome malevolent spirit. They hadn't even had a chance to rest. The sound of galloping hooves reached their ears. They were puzzled. At this late hour, who would be weeping in a place like this? Something was off, and they quickly realized. This was definitely not human. The few of them tacitly layered the ghostly realm together. The 4 of them stacked up to 5 layers of the ghostly realm. It shows how strong their power is. After all, in Lucheng, there aren't even many ghost-controlling masters. Before long, a figure riding a fine horse rushed out from the thick fog. Upon closer look, it turned out to be an exceptionally majestic warhorse. Its pupils and body were burning with a ghostly green flame. On its back were NS and the headless ghost general. Several experienced ghost hunters immediately recognized the power of the headless general. His level surpassed all the ghost hunters present. However, the combined force of 5 ghost encounters still gave them full confidence. Unexpectedly, the headless general charged directly at them, riding his ghost horse. The 5 layers of ghost encounters shattered instantly. Unable to stop him, they lost the protection of the ghost encounters. These ghost hunters became lambs to the slaughter. Facing the headless general's blade, there was no way to escape. In the end, the headless general strode away, leaving only the burning hoofprints on the ground. When Lin Feng woke up from bed, it was already afternoon. He hadn't slept so soundly in a long time. Turning his head, he saw 3 stunning beauties surrounding his bed. It seemed they had been waiting for Lin Feng to wake up for a long time. This scene startled Lin Feng quite a bit. But this is clearly an enjoyment that others can't get even if they beg for it. President Yan tilted his head and smiled. He said to Lin Feng, seeing you sleep so soundly, I didn't wake you for the morning auction. If you don't get up now, your Xianhua is going to make breakfast for the 5th time. Leaving the bedroom, Lin Feng looked at the delicious and well-prepared dishes. For a moment, I couldn't believe it. It was the first time he realized how good Xianhua was at cooking. This was Xuanhua's culinary creation. President Yan couldn't help but marvel at how virtuous women of that era were. It was really delicious. Xianhua gazed affectionately at Lin Feng. As long as Lin Feng was happy eating, he was happy too. Halfway through eating, Chairman Yan then remembered to report the auction situation to Lin Feng. Those ghosts sold for a total of 20 million. Upon hearing this news, the water Lin Feng drank spewed out. The balance went from 210,000 to 20,210,000. This sudden wealth truly caught him off guard. However, Chairman Yan quickly shifted gears and deducted 10% for the auction service fee, 6% tax, and my 20% commission. In total, I'll transfer you the remaining 12.8 million. After saying this, she playfully winked. Lin Feng was helpless. He thought to himself, so clever. No wonder you're the president. He could only continue to focus on eating. Chairman Yan stood up and was about to leave. Because 2 ghost hunter massacres occurred yesterday. One of the victims was an experienced A-rank hunter. Very suspicious. As luck would have it, Vice Chairman Zhuo of the Haicheng Ghost Hunter Association arrived. He said to Chairman Yan, you don't need to trouble yourself with this matter. Chairman Yan, slightly displeased, replied, I didn't come here for a vacation. What do you mean? Chairman Zhu asked you how you have no information at all about that ghost. What should we do? Then he showed Lin Feng and the others the information he had obtained. This is the video left by the ghost victim who was beheaded last night. At the beginning, there are blurred figures and the sound of galloping hooves. Lin Feng immediately thought of, could this be the ghost that chased into the noisy ghost domain? Chairman Zhuo froze at the clearest frame. The content of the scene. Lin Feng's pupils constricted, because he was precisely the one trying to snatch that noisy guy. He had slaughtered 2 ghost hunting teams upon arrival. Chairman Zhuo had already gathered relevant clues. He referred to him as the headless general, and he intended to train his 2 daughters' tracking skills. President Yan originally intended to investigate in person. After all, he came to Haicheng to continue his studies. He needs this kind of experience. However, President Zhu had already done most of the preliminary work, so he had no choice but to hand over this task. At this moment, Lin Feng was thinking that the headless general's outfit was just like that of the noisy general getting married. He really is the evil spirit behind the ghost cult, and it's all aimed at Xianhua. The Ding system has issued a new task to dissolve Xuanhua's engagement. Find Xuanhua's marriage certificate and destroy it to complete the task. Task reward, experience plus 1,000. Bond plus 10. Lin Feng suddenly realized. That's right, that headless general can track down Xianhua. And Xianhua was forced into the marriage mode in a bizarre way. He was probably restricted by something. Looking at it now, it's this marriage document. So without a word, Lin Feng took Tong Tong and Xianhua to search for the marriage document in Xuanhua's ghost prison. The ghost prison is vast, and the 3 of them put in quite some effort before they finally found Xuanhua's marriage document. The writing above looked like ghostly symbols. Lin Feng thought to himself, could this be what they call a ghost? However, this time the task is to destroy it. Lin Feng began to tear the marriage contract by hand. Who would have thought that in the next moment, the shredded marriage contract actively restored itself. Lin Feng could only hand it over to Xianhua, burning with his ghost fire. Ding system prompts, task completed 50%. Lin Feng thought for a moment and understood. The headless general probably still has a marriage certificate. It seems the only way is to kill him. Only then can Xianhua be truly free. In that case, leveling up and defeating monsters should not be delayed any longer. Lin Feng immediately took on an A-level mission. Before facing the headless general directly, he needed to quickly elevate Tong Tong and Xianhua's levels. At the same time, north of High City, Chairman Zhuo and his team sealed off the latest scene. Looking at the bodies of the elite team that encountered the Ghost Master on the ground, he couldn't help but look serious. His twin daughters, Zhuolin and Zhuoyu, analyzed. It should have been half an hour ago. The cut at the neck is consistent with the previous one. Although the rain covered the palace, it's still possible to trace the horse's hoofprints from the remaining tracks. Hearing this, Chairman Zhuo was overjoyed. He immediately waved his hand. Excellent. After chasing for an hour, Chairman Zhuo's convoy arrived in a remote mountain area. Zhuoyu suddenly spoke up, saying the driving tracks were getting heavier. We should be reaching the destination soon. After getting out of the car, Chairman Zhuo ordered everyone to turn off the headlights. We must adjust to the moonlight, to fight in the darkness of night. Based on the current situation, Chairman Zhuo has decided to implement the plan. 5 or 6 squads will be deployed in scattered encirclement. No need to rush. Just set up the traps properly. Wait for the right moment. To ensure safety, Zhuolin sent her ghost butterfly to scout the situation. Before the ghostly butterfly flew too far, the sound of galloping hooves came through. Hearing the hoofbeats, Chairman Zhuo smiled proudly. It seemed everything was already fated. His primary goal in this operation was the headless general's steed, the ghost horse. To this end, he specially prepared this large gold chain in his hand. The ghostly butterflies danced in a bluish hue, searching for traces of the headless general. The sound of horse hooves clattering. With a squish, a ghost butterfly was crushed underfoot. Zhuolin, the butterfly's owner, uneasily told her sister, I have a bad feeling. Zhuolin smiled and said, don't be afraid. This time, father brought 30 men, plus himself. That's a total of 3 groups. The eyes are unsettled. Before long, the headless general broke into the encirclement of the ghost encounter team. It was hard to tell whether he had stumbled in accidentally or intentionally crashed in. Chairman Zhu immediately ordered each team to use hidden ghost jade to seal him off. The team leaders who received the order responded in unison. 5 differently colored ghost jades appeared out of thin air. They blocked the path of the headless general. Everyone was caught off guard by this. The headless general showed no intention of stopping. He continued to gallop forward. Chairman Zhu immediately dispatched the first squad. They prepared to engage, but no one expected that their deceptive tactics would crumble like thin paper before the headless general. They were directly smashed by the ghostly horse. Chairman Zhu also realized this. The headless general has a very special ability. Those squads were definitely no match for him. He was ready to join forces with 2 other A ranks immediately. But the next scene was shocking. The 7-man squad, meticulously prepared by Chairman Zhuo, was wiped out in an instant. Even the ghost spirits disappeared. Fearing the headless general might escape, Chairman Zhuo immediately summoned his own throne. The ghostly spirit entered the room, unleashing the ghost realm that enveloped the headless general. At the same time, it spoke to the other 2 with authority. Cover them with your ghost realm as well. The triple layers are complete. Under the overlap of the ghost realms, the headless general finally came to a stop. Seeing this, President Zhuo smiled with satisfaction. Without a head, he is just headless. Now, it's like catching a turtle in a pot, waiting to be played to death slowly. In order not to let the headless general kill Ghost Horse, Chairman Zhuo immediately sent 3 A-level ghost spirits together. The headless general wasn't intimidated at all. Rode his horse and swung his sword right at them. Even when surrounded by 3 ghost spirits, he was still at ease. With a casual swing of his sword, he injured one of the 8-armed ghost spirits. Wei Ming watched his 8-armed specter get slain. and felt heartbroken. Da also advised President Chua to go find reinforcements, but it was already too late. The headless general slashed out his spectre with a single strike. At the same time, with a flick of his cloak, he summoned a spectre out of thin air to bite into Jinwoo. The headless general seized the moment and swiftly dealt a heavy blow to Jinwoo with one clean strike. Chairman Chua and the others finally realized at this moment that these suddenly appearing spirits belonged to Team 1. They had already been captured by the headless general. Then, the headless general released all the captured spirits. At the same time, they all activated the ghost jade internally. Chairman Chua felt as if struck by lightning. He knew this operation had completely failed. The stacked ghost jade is stable after precise calculation. The inside can't support so many ghost jades expanding at once. Sure enough, their stacked ghost jade collapsed. Chairman Chua turned and ran. Wei Min and Ada followed closely behind. The other ghost hunters were in trouble. The headless general breaking through the haunted domain was like a wolf among wolves. The association's ghost masters were captured in droves. They wanted to escape in the car, but it was too late. Zhuo Lin and the two sisters were still worried about the others who hadn't caught up. President Chua had no intention of waiting for them. He took the two sisters and left. Wei Min and Ade were just a moment late. They were already caught up by the headless general. This vehicle achieved its first airborne flight. It was faster than the truck driven at full speed by Chairman Chua. Then it smashed into the front of the truck. With that smash, the truck's engine was damaged. The entire vehicle also lost control. It charged forward, crashing into a sturdy tree. Only then did it stop, but the engine had already shut off. Fortunately, Chairman Zhu was well prepared. The truck's cargo area was coated with a special paint. As long as we hide inside, we should be fine. As the three of them just hid inside, Chairman Zhu reminded them not to speak, so they wouldn't be discovered. But Zhuo Lin still spoke up, because there was a gap in the carriage. Their breaths were not completely sealed off. The headless general could sense it. Although Zhuo Lin's heart was racing, she still mustered the courage to move forward and take a look. Peering out through the gap, she met the gaze of Gui Mana, whose eyes glowed with eerie green flames. Zhuo Lin's heart pounded uncontrollably. It's over, they've been discovered. What he didn't expect was, the headless general simply turned and left, as if he hadn't seen them. Zhuo Lin had no idea that it was because of Xianhua's timely arrival that the headless general's attention was diverted. After all, he had chased all the way from Lucheng to Haicheng just for Xianhua. The two stood there in silent confrontation. Lin Feng finally had a chance to step forward and check. It turned out that the president and his two companions were inside the carriage. They didn't expect Lin Feng to show up either. After a brief moment, the headless general spoke for the first time, shouting Xuanhua's name. But Xianhua did not respond. The sound gradually became ethereal. After Lin Feng confirmed the situation in the car, he signaled to Xianhua. Xianhua then immediately used Flash Escape. He enveloped the entire truck with the ghost realm. Then he used Flash Escape again, taking a few people along with him as they vanished. When they reappeared, they had already arrived at the number 3 border station in Haicheng. Lin Feng and Zhuo Yu are taking care of the injured President Chua and Zhuo Lin. President Chua is filled with deep regret. He sighs lightly, having finally managed to buy a second ghostly spirit. Now there's only one left. Lin Feng, who had just finished bandaging Zhuo Lin's wound, was about to say goodbye and leave, but he saw President Chua crying uncontrollably. He tightly grasped Lin Feng's hand. Please make sure to ask President Yan for help. I will reward you generously. Originally, Lin Feng had no intention of attacking the headless general, but 3 hours before this, he was on a ghost mission. With the cooperation of Tong Tong and Xianhua, they easily dealt with the evil spirit Bijia. Lin Feng unexpectedly obtained a ghost jade shard, which could be used to enhance the ghost jade. This was his first time learning about this thing. He fought all the way down. He also gained a very useful ghostly item. Although it looks a bit strange, wearing it can hide his presence. It makes him invisible. There's also an 80% chance of being mistaken for one of them by the ghosts. This little gain didn't satisfy Lin Feng. He continued to delve deeper with Tong Tong and Xianhua, because the main target of the mission was still below. They moved through the cave as if they were fighting monsters in a game. They fought their way deeper into the cave. Along the way, they also went treasure hunting in the cave. They found quite a few good things. After much traveling, they finally reached the bottom of the cave. After Tong Tong displayed extraordinary power and killed a centipede spirit, Lin Feng obtained another strange fragment. However, the color was different this time. This time it was blue. There were also the 2 large camel demons and aquatic plants guarded by the centipede spirit. Lin Feng thought, could this thing be used to feed the spirits? Let Tong Tong and Xianhua graze. Forget. After so many battles, the system prompt finally came. Would you like to use the ghost spirit pill to help Tong Tong level up? Lin Feng chose to try without hesitation. Tong Tong successfully advanced to a level. Lin Feng also received a 3-fold physical enhancement. And Tong Tong has awakened a new ghost technique mutation. It can be used during battle. It can probably last for 100 seconds. Just by looking, this form seems to have strong combat power. Along the way, Lin Feng has gained a lot. He couldn't help but marvel at how useful the association's intel is. Xianhua is also about to rise to S rank. Being a bit stingy, Lin Feng chose not to return the same way, but instead exited the haunted house through another exit. What a coincidence. He ran into President Chua, who was besieging the headless general. Instead, he was being chased by the headless general. He saw their car break down, and was spotted by the headless general. Lin Feng then let Xianhua step in to save them. Lin Feng trimmed down his own situation. He explained to President Chua why he was there. After Lin Feng finished speaking, President Yan also arrived. President Chua immediately requested President Yan, you are a spiritual being. You must be able to deal with the headless general. You have to help me. Otherwise, where will I put my face? President Yan is quite interested in this matter. However, his SG ghost spirit is still in transformation. His strength cannot be guaranteed. He glanced at Lin Feng with a questioning look. What do you think? President Zhu directly offered 5 million. I hope Lin Feng can make a move. But Lin Feng just got 10 million. How could he care about this? Chairman Chua, if you're not giving up, what do you want? A house? Gold? Or a government position? At this moment, Zhu Yu quietly leaned closer to his father's ear, blushing, and whispered, Dad. Daughters can also be given away. Chairman Zhu immediately lost his temper. No matter what, he can't touch his own daughter. She's his precious one. Lin Feng cleared his throat. He spoke up and agreed. Okay, but I have 3 conditions. First, tell me the information about the headless general. Everyone, follow my lead. All the spoils belong to Wu. The first 2 are manageable. The headless general's ghost horse and ghost sword are remarkable items. Lin Feng guessed Chairman Zhu's thoughts. He probably failed before because he wanted to capture the ghost horse. That's what led to his failure. So Lin Feng continued to speak. I heard President Chua lost a ghost spirit. I happen to have an unclaimed A-class single spirit here. How about selling it to you? President Chua hesitated, because unclaimed A-class single spirits are priceless. Plus, he just lost a ghost spirit. He needed to replenish his fighting power. President Chua's silence let Lin Feng know. Success just needs a little more push. He handed over the ghost token and said, agree to my terms. And this ghost spirit, 10 million, will be yours. I'll also help you deal with the headless general. Save your reputation. You have 30 seconds to decide. This was the first time President Chua had ever been pressured. The other party is just a young kid. The 2 sisters thought their father had never been so embarrassed. How would he ultimately decide? Lin Feng didn't care about their thoughts. As he counted down to the last 5 seconds, President Chua still chose to compromise. The youth is formidable. After the successful negotiation, Xianhua gently dries Lin Feng's hair after his bath. Lin Feng begins to think about a plan to deal with the headless general. The headless general has never deployed his ghost jade. He relies solely on his warhorse to charge recklessly. The ability to shatter ghost jade likely comes from the fact that the overlapping ghost jades of the warhorse are unstable. It seems only a strong enough single ghost jade will do. Thinking this, Lin Feng turns to look at Xianhua. He tells him to deploy the ghost jade. After obtaining the ghost jade fragments, Lin Feng can see more hints when he enters the ghost jade. Currently, the noisy ghost jade is a dual-layered one. The first layer is level 2. It has 14 ghost jade fragments. The ghost jade isn't very large. The mansion's exterior is basically the boundary of the ghost jade. Beyond that is just a void. To target the headless general, Lin Feng chose to enhance the noisy ghost jade to the maximum. In the fragment selection interface, Lin Feng then realized that different colored ghost jade fragments could expand the ghost jade into different regions. For the first fragment enhancement, Lin Feng chose the forest fragment. After selecting the fragments, you also need to choose the extended form. Lin Feng immediately set his sights on the peach blossom forest. Soon, the boundary of the ghost realm began to expand. Peach trees sprang up from the ground, growing rapidly. In no time, a breathtaking peach blossom forest appeared amidst the clamor of the strange encounter. The fragmented effects of the strange encounter are extraordinary. Lin Feng continues to enhance the noisy main scene with grasslands, snow-capped mountains, waterfalls, and lakes. The scope has expanded by more than 10 times. Sitting on the wooden bridge, Lin Feng turned his head and asked Xianhua if she liked it. Xianhua nodded. She didn't say anything, but Lin Feng could tell. He really likes it. Next is the final step. Lin Feng took out the ghost water grass. After scattering it into the lake, the ghost water grass automatically took root and grew wildly. After finishing all of this, Lin Feng asked Xianhua to try and see if he could control the ghost water grass. Xianhua raised her hand. The ghostly waterweed shot out of the water. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng smiled. Headless General, you can't escape. The new Headless General appeared in Haicheng. The S-Class Vice President's team was wiped out. Chairman Zhu's strength is being questioned. It's all just high-level spirits bought with money. It has been less than a day since Chairman Zhu's defeat. Related news has spread throughout the streets. This has caused panic among ordinary people. Even the spirit encounter masters are restless. In the past, several hundred spirit encounter masters would die each year, but that was on the outer defense line. Now there's just a malevolent spirit. Having lost so much high-end combat power and still not dealt with it, Chairman Zhu hasn't paid attention to those messages. He doesn't have time to pay attention, because he has set out again on the journey to defeat the Headless General. He's still thinking about showing Lin Feng and the others his true strength. He didn't expect his daughter to ruin it all. Dad, you really shouldn't show off. Lin Feng is only a few years old, and he's already at this level. It's more important to protect his own life. Chairman Yan is in a car behind. He explains the situation on his side to Lin Feng. We have a total of 3 teams. All 15 members are elite. Lin Feng seems a bit distracted. He didn't even glance at President Yan. President Yan blurted out, "You're not thinking about those twins, are you?" Sure enough, men always eat from the bowl while thinking about what's in the pot. Upon hearing this, Lin Feng quickly explained, No. I was just rehearsing tactics in my mind." Seeing Lin Feng's flustered explanation, President Yan's expression finally eased up. "I know you've planned everything out, Lin Feng. But you still need to be cautious about competing across levels. After all, if you get hurt, your sister will be really worried." After saying that, she pounced on Lin Feng. Xiao Yun adjusted her glasses, feeling a bit shy. Finally, the group arrived at the latest scene. The situation at the scene made President Yan exclaim how tragic it was. Xiao Yun directly summoned the ghostly phoenix feather to track the Headless General's whereabouts. Zhuolin and Zhuoyu also used their unique abilities, hoping to quickly track down the Headless General. The phoenix feather circled once and followed the scent to President Chua. It turned out he had made a discovery, and there were clues on President Chua. He showed the feather he found. He sensed the same aura from President Chua. President Chua immediately realized that it was from his Golden Crow spirit. But now the Golden Crow spirit has been taken by the Headless General. Feng Yu understood. He chased after the aura of the Golden Crow spirit. Xiao Yun urged everyone to follow quickly. Feng Yu should have found the direction until night falls. Only then did everyone reach a location under Feng Yu's guidance. Many corpses were lying here. Zhuolin quickly dispatched ghost discs to investigate. These people were all killed by the Headless General, and they just died recently. The Headless General shouldn't be far away. Following the guidance of his doll spirit, Zhuoyu suddenly spotted a black dot moving quickly in the distance. Others might not see it clearly, but Lin Feng had undergone 3 times the physical enhancement. From his perspective, that definitely was a pirate. The general was quickly rushing towards the grain town. President Yan heard this and said, "Oh no, there are many people over there. We can't let him go there. Should we chase him?" Lin Feng replied calmly, "No need. I have a way to deal with him here." Saying this, he took out a wooden comb from his pocket. Xianhua released the trick. Lin Feng whispered to the wooden comb. With a swish, Xuanhua responded. Upon entering the scene, a powerful cunning radiated from her. Under such a strong aura, those on the ground felt utterly insignificant. The Headless General also sensed the clamorous deception. He quickly changed direction in a flash. Seeing this, President Yan immediately ordered everyone to summon their spirits, because once the commotion begins, the desire of the spirits will sever their connection to them. Although many people came, Lin Feng only brought President Yan and Xiao. To be blunt, the others would probably just be a burden. It's better for them to stay on the outskirts. Just as the Headless General was about to approach, Xianhua launched a strange desire under Lin Feng's command. The range was so vast that it directly encompassed the entire mountain. Chairman Yan and Xiao Yun, who were drawn into the strange desire, both expressed their amazement. This strange desire is truly astonishing. Lin Feng was also secretly pleased. Xuanhua's strange desire originally had the characteristic of suppressing other spirits. After being enhanced, it's said to be an S7 strange. It's not too much to desire. The sound of hooves approached with a steady da-da-da. The Headless General also stormed into the ghost prison. The commotion immediately alerted Lin Feng. He quickly summoned the evil spirit mode, making everyone use the ghost shadow. All allied personnel and spirits were concealed. Lin Feng still had no intention of making a move. He wanted to observe the behavioral patterns of the Headless General. Confirm your guess. The hidden crowd. The bald general arrives at the front gate. He does not slow down. He crashes through the gate, splintering it apart. He breaks in. This isn't over yet. Not even the walls can stop his steps. Until he reached the courtyard, he finally stopped to search for the source of the commotion. After watching for so long, Chairman Yan discovered a key point. Why hasn't this guy dismounted while looking for someone? This also confirmed Lin Feng's suspicion. If this guy dismounted, his strength would most likely be greatly diminished. Instantly, the commotion has disappeared without a trace. General Wu released all the spirits he had tamed. He wants to search the entire ghost realm. He didn't expect the ghost realm to have expanded so much. But this is just like Lin Feng. The ambushers on the outskirts are also useful now. He informed Chairman Chua. Notify all teams to take out these ghosts one by one. Zhuoyu marveled from the side. This ghost domain is incredibly strong. It accommodates so many spirits, and remains stable. After arranging everything, Lin Feng stepped out. It's time. Xianhua, go. Hearing Lin Feng's command, Xianhua dashed out in a flash. General Wu's senses were highly attuned to Xuanhua's presence, so much so that as soon as Xianhua appeared, he detected her presence immediately. With the previous experience, this time, he rushed towards Xianhua as soon as he saw her. They don't care at all about the commotion on the lake's surface. Quietly waiting over there. What is the purpose of this? Lin Feng keenly noticed. The troublesome ghosts running on the water are faster. Are they afraid the commotion will slip away? As for running, how could that be possible? It has been carefully arranged for so long. Isn't it just to wait for the headless general to come? But the headless general swept through again. Lin Feng noticed something was wrong. The ghost water grass actually showed no reaction. What surprised Lin Feng even more was the commotion slowly drifted down. There was not the slightest intention to cast ghost techniques. He waved his hand. Peach blossoms flew through the air. In this atmosphere of yours, quietly watching the headless general, President Yan was shocked. What's going on? Is Lin Feng's ghostly energy out of control? In the next moment, ghostly water grass shot out of the surface. Keep the ghost firmly restrained. Unable to move a bit. Lin Feng finally understood. Xianhua intended to use himself as bait, to lure the headless general into slowing down. The headless general has a betrothal with him, so he naturally wouldn't kill him directly. The headless general swung his sword. I want to break free from the binding of the ghostly water grass. I didn't expect that under Xuanhua's manipulation. Even my hand wielding the sword is restricted. Lin Feng couldn't help but exclaim. It's still noisy and considerate. The melody runs wild with ghostly charm. The ghostly water grass may not truly bind me. At times like this, the ghostly water grass really has amazing effects. The ghostly horse was already limited on the water's surface. Now, given this situation, its combat effectiveness has decreased by at least one level. However, the headless general is not so easy to deal with. Those released ghost spirits, except for those eliminated by the outer perimeter, are all rushing over now. Lin Feng could only turn to President Yan. Guard the outer perimeter of the lake. We can't let them in. So, Xiao Bai and Feng Yu rushed out together. At the same time, there was also Tong Tong in evil spirit mode. Not only that, President Yan summoned his evolving S-class benevolent spirit as well. He said to it, Xiaohua, send us over. With Xiaohua's ability, the surface of the lake blossomed with flowers, creating a path leading to the center of the lake. It was strong enough to support Yan Huizhang and Lin Feng as they moved forward. The speeding Tong Tong was caught up by Guiling. President Yan quickly reminded her to be careful. That ghost was exhausted. Who would have thought that Tong Tong would send him to reincarnation with a single claw? He also gained a talent that restores 1% of health per second. President Yan was shocked by Tong Tong's performance again. How long has it been? And he's already exhausted. Xiao Bai was not to be outdone. With the spear swinging, the nearby spirits all fell one after another. In this way, 4 spirits guarded the 4 directions leading to Wu Xian. For Tong Tong, this was completely a great place to gain experience. Xiao Yun didn't expect Lin Feng's 2 spirits to be so strong. But for President Yan, this was a good thing. Lin Feng's reputation, and his relationship with President Yan can also benefit from this. Lin Feng nervously stared at the headless general in the arena. I didn't expect it to reach this point. He still refuses to dismount. Fortunately, Tong Tong has already resolved it. The spirits over there can spare some hands to help Xianhua. After Tong Tong joined the battlefield, the headless general had no choice but to fight on foot. He jumped into the air. He swung his sword towards Tong Tong. Xiaohua acted just in time. She sprayed out purple mist. It obscured General Wu's line of sight. She gave General Wu no chance at all. The chaos and manipulation of the scalding water grass entangled General Wu. So absolute. Of course, I can't back out. Feng Yu and Xiaohua launched remote attacks. Tong Tong flashed with a red glow. She charged forward, claws swinging. But something unexpected happened. Tong Tong was directly knocked back. She suffered significant injuries. Feng Yu and Xiaohua were also sent flying backwards. Thanks to Xiao Bai arriving just in time to catch the two. The headless general attacking the center is now unharmed. President Yan saw it at a glance. There's also a problem with the headless general's armor. It can cause counter damage. This left him puzzled. Such a high-grade defensive contract. How do we fight this? The headless general doesn't care about anyone. Shocked, he raised his sword and started slashing at everyone. Tong Tong was already injured. At this moment, she seemed to be in great danger. Lin Feng shouted anxiously, Tong Tong, watch out. Buzz, buzz. Tong Tong's ghostly token suddenly reacted. Under Lin Feng's worried gaze, Tong Tong suddenly entered a mutated state. Her demeanor became particularly icy. She successfully blocked the headless general's attack. The headless general missed his strike and immediately withdrew. Although her red eyes had grown stronger, they still couldn't deal with the headless general. As Lin Feng was thinking of a countermeasure, a light bulb went off in his head. He turned to look at Xuanhua. Let's try using ghost fire. Both the ghostly cry and the marriage certificate have this weakness. The headless general is likely the same. Xuanhua began to activate the ghostly wail. A stream of ghost fire shot toward the headless general. If it hits the headless general, it will go bang, bang, bang. Soon, the green flames engulf the headless general. The strike was unexpectedly effective. Tong Tong and Xiaohua seized the opportunity. They pulled back and moved forward, giving it their all. They unleashed their strongest attack. This time, it landed solidly on the headless general. Without any counter damage, the headless general seems to be out of fuel and exhausted. He kneels down on the water surface. Chairman Yan sighed. Finally he is dead. But Lin Feng knew he was not dead yet, because the system notification hadn't arrived. Sure enough, just when everyone relaxed a bit, the headless general suddenly drew his sword and accelerated. Fortunately, Lin Feng had anticipated it. Otherwise, the male bodyguard wouldn't have been taken away. 2 kids, under Lin Feng's command, faced General Wu. With one strike, chopped off the arm that held General Wu's sword. Lin Feng leaped into the air and caught the ghost sword that General Wu dropped. He approached General Wu and thrust his sword down. Clank, 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 clank. The system notifications kept coming. Victory in battle. Engagement annulment mission complete. Acquired demon sword. Inflicting continuous damage. Double damage to ghost spirits. Gain advanced defense against physical counterattacks from ghost armor. Acquire the ghost cloak. Subdue dying ghost spirits and turn them to your use. Obtain ghost pounce and ghost horse, ignoring fatigue and hell types. Ignore some ghost domain barriers. Heard a sound. The system prompts Lin Feng to sigh. What headless general? Clearly, it's Song Baotong. At this moment, on the outside, Zhuo Lin said worriedly to her father, Dad, it's been a long time since there's been any movement over there. Why don't you go help Lin Feng? Chairman Zhuo was at loss for words. Weren't we just saying that staying alive is the priority? It's true that a girl can't be kept at home. Without waiting for them to make a move. In a flash, the ghost realm disappeared. Zhuo Yu reacted the fastest, nervously looking in one direction. You all look over there quickly. Zhuo Lin and Chairman Zhuo looked in the direction pointed out by Zhuo Yu. The mischievous figure reappeared. There was a figure holding a sword on its back. This left them horrified. It was the headless general. But as the figure drew closer, they saw clearly. It was clearly Lin Feng, dressed in the full gear of the headless general. This flashy entrance left everyone present in awe. The general died just like that. Is Lin Feng really this strong? Seriously, he's way too cool. Seeing this scene, Chairman Zhuo felt a bit uneasy. He's only 15 years old. He took advantage of everything. Then he asked Lin Feng, are you selling this ghost horse? I'll offer 50 million to contribute to Lin Feng. Without hesitation, Lin Feng said, not selling. President Zhuo was stunned. Lin Feng was so resolute. There wasn't even the slightest room for negotiation. Chairman Zhu doesn't believe in evil. He raises the bid by 80 million again. No, it's 100 million. Zhu Lin behind him is sweating nervously. Is my dad trying to go crazy with his wild ideas? Xiao Yun is also shocked by Chairman Zhu's bidding. This Chairman Zhu is so wealthy. Chairman Yan explains that the Zhu family is a prominent family in Haicheng. This amount of money should be nothing to him. Lin Feng had no intention of showing President Zhuo any respect. Didn't you realize when he scolded you? The most valuable things in this society now can't be bought with money. This isn't the money above all society. From 100 years ago, President Zhuo was momentarily speechless, because Lin Feng was absolutely right. He had no way to refute. President Yan silently watched the confrontation between the two, thinking to himself, Lin Feng was indeed right. Right now, the most valuable people are powerful spirit hunters. Only they can lead humanity out of the apocalypse. And Lin Feng, achieving so much at his age. It's hard to imagine how far he will go. This is beyond what ordinary people can reach. What money cannot measure. May also become a legend that lasts through the ages. Chairman Zhuo was sent away. Chairman Yan invited Lin Feng to return with him. Lin Feng politely declined. He planned to get acquainted with Gui Ma. Of course, riding alone at midnight is definitely boring. Lin Feng summoned, called out Tong Tong and Xianhua, one in front, one behind, took the two for a ride, to celebrate Xuanhua's official return to freedom. All the way here, no matter the terrain, it was very smooth. Along the way, Tong Tong opened her ghostly eyes, and pointed in a direction. Lin Feng understood that there were evil spirits present. It was just the right time to test Gui Ma's abilities. Following Tong Tong's directions, Gui Ma recklessly crashed into an evil spirit's nurturing. Lin Feng waved the ghost sword in his hand. Riding Gui Ma, he darted out from the other side. The B-level evil spirit, still caught off guard, was already in a different position. It was just that decisive and swift. Not long after that, Gui Ma brought Lin Feng near Haicheng. Lin Feng himself didn't expect Gui Ma to run so fast. But in the city, Lin Feng didn't plan to draw much attention. He dismounted and put away his gear. But Gui Ma was already this big. What should I do? Should I just stuff it into the storage compartment? The system has a prompt. It reminds Lin Feng that he can spend 3,000 points to upgrade the storage space. Should he upgrade? After the upgrade, the storage space has clearly turned into a small house. It could even be tidied up for living. The system also automatically generated a bathroom and a dressing room. The ghost water grass that Lin Feng had obtained earlier can be used to feed the ghost horse, to help it regain strength. Tong Tong suddenly tugged at Lin Feng's shoulder cautiously, because he sensed danger. Lin Feng immediately exited the system space, and saw a little spirit bouncing towards him from a distance. However, the spirit seemed odd, even weaker than level 1. Passing by, Lin Feng had no desire to attack at all. He just hopped away on his own. A smile was always on his face. Lin Feng thought, is this the kind of ghost with a murderous logic? It only acts when conditions for an attack are met. Moreover, the postman bag on him is quite special. I wonder if there will be any treasures inside. There's never any mercy for evil spirits. Since there might be treasures, we can't let it slip by. Lin Feng gave the order directly. He told Tong Tong to go and grab the mailman's bag. Although Tong Tong was a bit scared, as long as it was Lin Feng's command, he follows orders to the letter. He rushed up and snatched the postman's bag. As expected, this spirit is no ordinary one. After the item was taken, the ghostly aura surged immediately. In an instant, Lin Feng and Tong Tong appeared together at the ghost cave. This feeling was all too familiar. Xianhua used the flash shield, which means that postman ghost made Xianhua feel a strong threat. Who exactly is he? In that case, I should take a good look at the mailbag we snatched. After opening it, I found a letter inside. Looking at this strange scrawl, Lin Feng immediately thought of Xuanhua's marriage certificate. It's just as incomprehensible. However, this time the handwriting is even more delicate. Perhaps it was written by a female ghost. If it weren't for the system prompt, Lin Feng would have almost forgotten he had the ability to decipher spirits. So Lin Feng turned his gaze toward Xianhua. Come on, Xianhua, let's activate the ghost cry together. The ghosts in the letter turned into Chinese characters in Lin Feng's eyes. Without exception, they all wrote, save me, save me. The system popped up. It detected that the third ghost spirit task for the advanced ghost cry had started. The host can choose the unknown female ghost who sent the letter as the third ghost spirit. Start the bond task. Third ghost spirit. This is definitely good news for Lin Feng. However, determining a romantic relationship online based solely on a letter is quite hasty. Fortunately, the system is quite user-friendly. It tells Lin Feng that he can undertake the bond tasks for 3 spirits simultaneously. Only the spirits who complete all tasks can successfully bind. In that case, Lin Feng has nothing to hesitate about. Just sit down for now. Anyway, if something better comes along, you can change. Bond task activated. Reward, bond +3. The host needs to reply to the unknown female ghost. Deliver the letter to the ghost postman to complete the task. Lin Feng said, what goes around comes around. I just snatched someone else's bag. He has to send the letter again. Lin Feng tentatively asked Tong Tong, can you and Xianhua handle that ghostly postman? Xianhua and Tong Tong shook their heads. Clearly, they were powerless. Otherwise, they wouldn't have escaped so quickly. There's no way around it. Let's just write the reply first. Lin Feng replied, who are you? Where were you? I just finished writing a letter. Then the ghostly postman rushed over aggressively. That really made me uneasy. Armed with powerful weapons, Lin Feng felt his scalp tingle. There was no choice. Lin Feng could only throw the postman's bag to him. He would assess the situation before making further plans. The moment he got the postman's bag, the ghost postman returned to his harmless appearance. He also took Lin Feng's reply with him. Inside the Haicheng City Lord's mansion, the city lord was enjoying an extravagant feast. Suddenly, 3 people came in to report news. Are you saying Lin Feng killed the headless general? The city lord, Lu Yunxiao, spoke calmly. The third lady of Haicheng, Lu Ru, stood behind her. Stay quietly by his side. We knew about this a long time ago. Lin Feng is most likely an incorporeal spirit. How could we let him join the Ghostmaster Alliance? We must recruit him. At all costs. At the same time, such confidential information has actually spread in a small tavern. The bartender whispered quietly last night. I hacked into the internal system of the Spirit Master Association, and found out the headless general was killed. Guess who did it? After saying this, he proudly showed his ID to the two. The news on it left both of them speechless. It was Lin Feng. He's only 15 years old. A spirit medium can't be that overpowered, right? The old man next to me sighed that this world is inherently unfair. Some people are just born stronger than you. They're not only more handsome but also work harder than you. You might as well go home, get married, and have kids. That should be something you can surpass him in. At his age, he probably hasn't even touched a woman's hand. However, while they were talking, Lin Feng was sprawled out on the bed. Noise on the left. Tong Tong on the right, feeling utterly carefree. Lin Feng, get up. President Yan's voice called out. Lin Feng reluctantly got up. The noisy and considerate person helped him get dressed. He walked out of the room. He saw President Yan leaning against the wall. He opened his mouth and said, a stunning beauty from the city lord's mansion is here to see you. Do you want to meet her? The visitor was none other than the third miss of Haicheng, Lu Ru. After Lin Feng took his seat, the two exchanged pleasantries. Then Lu Ru was the first to speak. I actually noticed you back in Lu City. However, the Demon Slayer Alliance got to you first. This time you dealt with the headless general. Regardless, I must invite you to join the Haicheng mansion. Lin Feng had incredibly proud demeanor. That might disappoint you. Yu Ru interrupted. Hold on, let me finish my words. The Ghost Encounter Masters Alliance was founded by powerful ghost masters from the north. My father holds a position there. With your talent, the headquarters will definitely give you the best training. They might even send you to the city with the most spiritual mediums. But you'll also be assigned to support ghost nests in various cities. You'll lose both safety and freedom. Lin Feng raised an eyebrow. That means joining you would actually be better. Of course, and what I can offer you is more than just simply going into the water in Haicheng. As long as you can become a Disha within 5 years, that is, a ghost master, I can persuade my father to let me marry you. I can arrange for you to have a Haicheng. As for how to guarantee Lu Ru, he said his father is already 86 years old. He expects him to pass away in 5 years. By then, he will become the Lord of Haicheng. But he knows in his heart that his own strength isn't enough yet. So, he needs a powerful enough husband. As long as Lin Feng can become a Disha within 5 years, which is a ghost controller, he could persuade his father to allow him to marry Lin Feng. Lin Feng had a clever look in his eyes. Haicheng is one of the 6 central cities. A city with a population of 8 million. 99% of ghost masters would agree, right? But Lin Feng hesitated for a moment. He opened his mouth and asked, Sister, why me? Hearing Lin Feng's words, Lu Ru suddenly felt a bit flustered. A blush crept up her cheeks. What did you just call me? Lin Feng answered in confusion. Called you sister. I'm only 15. What else should I call you if not sister? Lu Ru listened and the embarrassment was all over her face. Hey, in 5 years, you won't be 15 anymore. Don't say I'm taking advantage of you. Anyway, think about it. I'll be leaving now. Then he hurriedly escaped, leaving Lin Feng confused and at a loss. Did I say something wrong? On the way back to the city, Lu Rushio feels utterly embarrassed. This is so awkward. Why didn't anyone tell me that Lin Feng is only 15? He looks so handsome and mature. I am clearly young and beautiful. Why do I feel a guilty pleasure like an old cow grazing on tender grass? But Lu Ru starts to feel anxious and uncertain. Will Lin Feng agree to me? At this moment, Lin Feng and Chairman Yan are dining in the restaurant. Lin Feng curiously asks, why is the daughter of the Sea City Lord so young? Yet he is already over 80. Chairman Yan explains that he is a strange old man. He was a force to be reckoned with in his youth. He never got married. It wasn't until he realized there would be no one to follow him that he began to settle down. Lu Rushi is the only gifted child among his offspring. He is bound to inherit the position of the City Lord. In my opinion, the City Lord of Haicheng won't be around for much longer. Chairman Yan's words suddenly made Lin Feng think of a question. So what will happen to spirit after he passes away? What about his ghost? Chairman Yan said while eating. His ghost is quite powerful. After death, no one can control it. It will definitely come out to cause trouble. It will bring disaster. So he will definitely leave Haicheng before he dies. Go to the ghost prison to eliminate hidden dangers. The ghost prison keenly captured this unfamiliar term. President Yan continued to elaborate. At the headquarters of the Ghost Encounter Alliance, there is a cell made of gold. It holds the notorious figures responsible for creating ghost nests for centuries, and the powerful ghost spirits released after the ghost masters die. They enter the cell before they die, sealed completely with gold. After the ghost master dies, the ghost spirit will naturally be sealed inside. Years later, the bonds will dissipate. Other ghost masters can then attempt to control it. Once my alliance contribution reaches a certain level, I will be able to capture one from the ghost prison. And I've long since chosen the city-destroying ghost spirit number 55. No one has been able to capture it. I must be keeping them waiting. Speaking of which, President Yan almost ruled. So, President Yan stood up and personally fed Lin Feng a cherry. You must take good care of your sister. Don't let anyone take her away, okay? Lin Feng smiled awkwardly. I'm Jing Liangding. The system suddenly prompted. You have a ghost letter arriving soon. Please wait in an uninhabited area in the west of the city. The system prompts that the ghost postman is on the way. After delivering the letter, Lin Feng arrived outside the city early. At the same time, he summoned Tong Tong and Xianhua. Watching the figure of the ghost postman rushing over, Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a bit worried. Because Tong Tong and Xianhua together still can't beat him. But this time it's for receiving a letter. The ghost postman shouldn't attack us, right? But judging by the way he's charging in, Tong Tong even entered evil spirit mode. Xianhua was also ready to fight. Fortunately, when he reached Lin Feng, he suddenly slammed on the brakes. It stopped steadily. He handed Lin Feng his reply. After Lin Feng took the letter, Guo Yu had a sinister smile on his face. He rubbed his thumb and index finger together. It was suggestive. Lin Feng still didn't know what was going on. Xianhua stepped forward and released a wail of ghosts. Lin Feng finally realized it was time for revenge. The key point is still Dao Fu. Forget, that's not important. After opening the new wind, Lin Feng pulled up the noise. Together they used the ghost script to decipher. The ghostly symbols on the letter began to reveal text. Record near the southwest of Lucheng. Following ghost cry. Speaking of the record, Lin Feng immediately thought of the time when he struck the wooden fish during the record case. Could the ghostly woman writing the letters also be trapped inside? Just like the noisy embroidered shoes. It seems this ghostly postman is quite impressive. He can deliver letters even to that place of Jishan. Lin Feng turned to look at Xianhua. We need to follow the ghost's instructions in the letter to the southwest of Lu City. Xianhua naturally obeyed unconditionally. Then Lin Feng mounted his horse, fully armed and ready to set off. Gui Ma's speed was quite impressive. Before long, they arrived at the no man's land. They should be able to reach Lu City tonight. At this time, the identity badge received a message. Lin Feng opened it and took a look. It was a message from President of the Alliance. It turned out that a large-scale ghost nest had suddenly appeared west of Lu City. It was a bit overwhelming. The Ghost Master Alliance asked him to go provide support. He wanted to trouble Lin Feng to go as well. The so-called ghost nest is an attacking wave composed of hundreds or thousands of malevolent spirits. It is the greatest disaster that devastates this era. It appears on the outskirts of towns every few years. The city's guardians, the Onmyoji, are responsible for defense. Cities typically have multiple outer defenses. Although there are no walls, there are demon cry detectors and Onmyoji fortresses distributed around. The closer you are, the higher the level of defense. If the defenses fail, the entire city will face total destruction. But of course, in the past, Lucheng has successfully defended against ghost nests, so there's no need to worry too much. Lucheng's second prison ghost master school. The teacher is explaining ghost nests to the students. A little girl suddenly stands up and asks, what if the defenses fail? Will we die? Teacher, aren't you a ghost master? Why not go into battle? The teacher is breaking out in cold sweat. Quickly changes the topic. The next class is a survival simulation by Teacher Wang. He will answer your questions. In a house north of Lu City, a few ghost hunters are exchanging pleasantries, having heard that this ghost nest is particularly dangerous. We should head back to the city for defense. I wonder how many Onmyoji will die this time. Suddenly, this group of Onmyoji realized something was off, but it was already too late. An A-rank evil spirit appeared in the first defense. It was recklessly spreading its domain. This group of Onmyoji was pulled into the spirit domain. There was nowhere to escape. They could only give it their all. They all released their spirits. They wanted to test the true strength of this evil spirit, but it was only for a moment. All the spirits lost their fighting ability. The evil spirit lunged at the remaining ghost masters. All the ghost masters thought they would be trapped here forever. Suddenly, they heard the sound of horses' hooves beside them. Lin Feng rode the ghost horse, and directly shattered the evil spirit's domain. The evil spirit was fierce. How could there be such a way to break the sinister desires? They all followed closely. The Crimson Force palm swung. The evil spirit reached out with a touch. This group of ghost masters had no luck to celebrate surviving the ordeal. On the contrary, they became even more panicked. Oh no, this ghost is even stronger than before. They couldn't even think of resisting. It wasn't until Lin Feng and the commotion approached that they realized, wait, this is an encounter with a ghost master. His ghost spirit is actually this outrageous. After Lin Feng saved a few people, I inquire if you are the ghost hunters from Lucheng. A few of you should be colleagues. Tell Lin Feng. The ghost nest in the west has already infiltrated. You need to be careful. They hadn't even finished speaking. Lin Feng rushed towards the creek. One of them was watching the departing figure intently. He recognized him. Isn't that Lin Feng? The others gasped in surprise. How is that possible? Didn't he just pass the evaluation recently? His growth rate is terrifying. Not long after, Lin Feng rushed to Lu Chengyi's room. There are indeed a lot more ghosts here. I've been killing my way through. With Lin Feng's extraordinary physique, I'm also sweating from exhaustion. Not far away is a ruin engulfed in flames of war. The battles here are so intense. It's hard to imagine how shocked the soldiers on the periphery must be, given this situation. Let's do a thorough cleanup. With Lin Feng's strength, there's nothing to worry about here. He, Tong Tong, and Xianhua have become killing machines. With the boost from Ghost Sword, Ghost Armor, and Ghost Horse, Lin Feng's speed at killing enemies didn't slow at all. He forcefully cut through the ghost nest. Tong Tong and Xuanhua's experience also rapidly increased. The second branch of Lu Si. A massive ghost spirit is chasing a motorcycle. The motorcycle swerves sharply. It comes to a stop. Yuan Feng tells Han Shui to stay here. He decides to lure the evil spirit, Ag, to the station. He looks up at the distant scene. He sees something that confuses him. What is that? The place we just passed through is completely cleared out. But he didn't have time to think. An A-level spirit is already chasing him from behind. He quickly turned around and floored the gas. Unexpectedly, another A-level spirit appeared from a different direction. He was trapped in the middle with nowhere to escape. A blink caused a collision with the two A-class evil spirits. It stirred up a wave that swept across the entire ruins. Han Shui witnessed this scene. She screamed. Yuan Feng knew very well that in this situation, with Yuan Feng's strength, it was absolutely impossible to survive. The next scene is something that Han Shui will never forget. Lin Feng rode the ghostly horse and shattered the ghost jade. He was also holding Yuan Feng. Tong Tong followed behind. With a swipe of its claw, it tore apart that class A evil spirit, all to save time. After confirming there's no danger, Lin Feng casually flung Yuan Feng onto the ground. He himself didn't stop at all. Rushing to the next battlefield. Looking at the information on the identity card, Lin Feng concluded there must be a breach in the city wall. Otherwise, this is only the second defense zone. It's impossible for so many A-grade evil spirits to be waiting for Lin Feng. Are they coming from the ghosts? I didn't expect that. The massive golden city walls have collapsed for some unknown reason. A huge breach. Countless ghostly spirits rush through the breach into the city. Xianhua and Tong Tong don't need Lin Feng's instructions. They charge directly into the ghost den. Tong Tong unfolds the ghost realm. Xuanhua's red thread dances in the air. The number of spirits killed is already countless. Xianhua has also reached the point where he can upgrade. In this situation, Lin Feng naturally chooses to upgrade without hesitation. After the promotion to S rank, he gained a new ability, Mist. It can confuse the enemy's sense of direction, commonly known as Ghost Wall. Lin Feng also received a fourfold enhancement in physical abilities. After clearing the nearby ghost nests, Lin Feng pressed on without rest, continuing toward the outskirts. A fortress at the 3 houses west of Lucheng was enduring attacks from ghost nests on all sides. It is already on the verge of collapse. S-class encountering spirits. Fei Lao is personally stepping in to resist the overwhelming tide of spirits. Otherwise, with so many of them, the west region won't be able to handle it at all. Suddenly, someone reported in. An S-class evil spirit is coming from the west. This news startled Fei Lao. He is currently overwhelmed. No one else can stop that guy. What Fei Lao doesn't know is, the direction of the S-level evil spirit is precisely where a young man is heading. Lin Feng is riding a ghost horse, and recklessly charging into the ghost domain. The ghost domain turned out not to be shattered. He had a guess in his heart. Could this be an S-rank evil spirit? He sensed that someone had intruded into his territory. The S-rank evil spirit, Black and White Bear, appeared. It launched an attack on Lin Feng. With one punch, the ground shook 3 times. Fortunately, Lin Feng has good control. He skillfully dodges the ghostly attack. The Black and White Bear misses its strike. It swings its paw again. Lin Feng leaps away. He instructs in the chaos to use the mist. After the command to create confusion, he swiftly maneuvers. Dark green smoke burst forth, enveloping the entire Black and White Bear. It directly entered a mutated form. Wanting to settle it quickly, the Black and White people caught in it couldn't figure out the situation at all. In a flash, Tong Tong struck out with several knives, each blow hitting solidly on him. The Black and White Bear's body began to crack. A cluster of cotton was oozing from the wounds. Strangely, its abdomen was emitting a green light. The system didn't send any messages. That means the Black and White Bear isn't dead. But this guy is clearly just a cloth. So that small ball in the middle must be the real one. Through the green sphere, I can see a little Black and White Bear sitting inside a plush cup. It became enraged. The wailing erupts violently, creating ripples. The bamboo shoots in the ghost realm begin to grow wildly. The ghost realm also starts to expand continuously. It even put pressure on Old Fei's ghost domain. Within Old Fei's ghost domain, countless bamboo shoots sprouted from the ground, causing considerable casualties among the ghost tamers in his domain. Under such circumstances, only the other ghost tamers can hold the line for now. So Old Fei can focus on dealing with the S-class evil spirit. The little Black and White Bear looked angrily at Lin Feng. He wants to swallow him alive. But in Lin Feng's eyes, this is no different from acting cute. He doesn't take the little Black and White Bear seriously at all, because he has already discovered the bear's weakness. The commotion has generated ghost fire in his palm. With a flick of his hand, the ghost fire scattered like ropes, tangled around the bamboo surrounding the little Black and White Bear. Amidst the chaotic and wild uproar, the ghost fire erupted violently. The little Black and White Bear at the center of the encirclement had no escape. Burned to ashes. A system prompt appeared. Killed the SG Spectre. Obtained 1 ghost jade shard. A ghost bamboo shoot. Just arrived. The ghost jade starts to gradually collapse, revealing the figures of Lin Feng and Xianhua. Old Fei thought, have the masters of the Ghost Encounter Alliance arrived? A beam of sunlight broke through the clouds, landing as the Ghost Encounter masters held on to this rare moment of safety, even though they only had half an hour to catch their breath. This time, the casualty report came in. In just a few short hours, over 60 spirit hunters were killed. Among them were 5 veterans. And this was with Lin Feng coming to support, handling an S-class evil spirit on his own. Fei Lao felt deep gratitude toward Lin Feng from the bottom of his heart. However, Fei Lao is curious. Didn't they say that the Alliance sent 2 teams? Why is it just you? Lin Feng honestly replied, I'm acting alone. Consider me a special envoy. The official team shouldn't be here yet. Oh, really? What a coincidence. After being shocked, Mr. Fei smiled, and said to Lin Feng, at such a young age, you have this kind of strength. I don't know your name. Lin Feng said his name. Upon learning that the young man in front of him was Lin Feng, he became excited. Isn't that the genius medium who solved the Ghost City crisis recently? Fei raised his drink and wanted to be friends with Lin Feng. Upon learning that there was a ghost nest in his hometown, he rushed over to offer support. It's rare to see such a responsible young man. After half an hour of safety time, Lin Feng and Fei stood atop the city wall, watching the increasingly turbulent ghost nest. What's worse is, the intelligence report from the detector shows that there are actually two S7 phantoms in this ghost den. Fei Lao's expression changed drastically. His injuries have not yet healed, and with already insufficient manpower, there's no way to win, unless they transfer the ghost hunters from the south. Just at that moment, a ghost hunter rushed in anxiously. Fei, it's bad. We've received news from the south. A ghost nest has appeared in Nanshan. 2 strongholds have already been completely wiped out. What? There's a ghost nest in the south too? It's true that misfortunes never come simply. All is lost. I thought, as I turned my head to look at Lin Feng. A genius like you, even if Lu City is gone, should not die in vain. You go first, I'll hold them off. When you've grown strong, avenge us. But Lin Feng remained unmoved. He retorted, can you hold back an S-level evil spirit, Mr. Fei? Mr. Fei hesitated for a moment. He answered, holding it back for a while shouldn't be a problem. Then let's do it. I can guarantee we will win. Saying this, Lin Feng jumped off the city wall. By the time he landed, he was already mounted on the ghostly steed, wearing the ghost armor. Tong Tong and Xianhua followed closely behind. Old Fei steeled himself. Although he felt there was no chance of victory in this situation, he still decided to fight alongside Lin Feng. The ghost masters on the city wall were not idle either. They began to load ammunition and bombarded the ghost nest. As Lin Feng faces the ghost nest head-on, this battle officially begins. Fei Lao claps his shoulder strap. His killing machine, the ghost spirit, appears. Immediately, the ghost domain is unleashed. He is up against Bai Sha. The clash between their eerie domains intensifies. In a brief moment, this put Fei Lao under immense pressure. Bai Sha's strength was overwhelming, and Fei Lao was still recovering from serious injuries. However, the spirit masters on the city wall were even more nervous, because they watched as Lin Feng charged directly into He Sha's demonic domain, without even unfolding his domain. What they didn't know was, Lin Feng already had a plan in mind. The ghost realm is indeed about to unfold, but not yet. After charging into the ghost realm of He Sha, just as expected, 8 A-class evil spirits were ready and waiting. He Sha stood across from them, staring intently at Lin Feng. Facing this situation, Lin Feng smiled, you're exactly the 8 I wanted. Immediately, Xianhua moved with lightning speed. He bound the 8 A-class evil spirits. Lin Feng took the risk. He personally stepped in to lure He Sha. Xianhua unfolded the ghost domain, encompassing all the A-class evil spirits within. Previously, it was not revealed. It was just to catch them off guard now. The 2 ghost corpses on the city wall looked stunned. What is going on here? Lin Feng's ghost spirit can actually unfold a ghost domain in an S-class ghost domain, and it trapped 8 A-class ghosts inside. Isn't he afraid the ghost domain will burst? Only those ghosts in the noisy ghost domain. Only then did I realize how terrifying the noisy ghost domain is. Not only is it impossible to expand my own ghost domain, but even using ghost techniques is extremely difficult. Moreover, there are powerful beings within the ghost domain. With the noisy ducks and rabbits, everything is happening in a flash. Their figures twist and turn. 8 A-level beings have fallen one after another. However, Lin Feng's situation is not so good right now. After the other ghosts were taken out, He Sha's speed increased dramatically. He stirred up huge battle waves on the outskirts of the noisy ghost realm. Tong Tong and Xianhuan looked at Lin Feng with concern. With this level of attack, it's hard to withstand against ghosts. Their faces were filled with worry. Fortunately, the Black Fiend is using purely physical attacks. Lin Feng's ghost played a crucial role. The physical damage reflection caused the Black Fiend to suffer a big loss. The Black Fiend quickly raised his hand, preparing to cast a spell. But Lin Feng wouldn't give him the chance. Xianhua has already used a mist attack on the Black Fiend. In the mist, the Black Fiend can't find his way at all. Silently, Xianhua had already come up behind him. He stabbed the yellow turban. The ghost sword cut through the mist. It also revealed the body of the Black Sha. Only, it was unknown when it had fallen into Xuanhua's hands. Looking at the slowly dissipating Black Sha, Lin Feng felt a sense of pride in his heart. Xuanhua's teleportation is indeed useful. The demon sword can be instantly switched to his hand. Once He Sha dies, Lin Feng quickly rushed to support Phi Leo. Faced with the Bai Sha's ghost jade, Lin Feng directly let the ghost horse charge in. With this charge, it caused a crack to form in his ghost jade. After Lin Feng arrived, the situation on the field changed instantly. It left the other ghost masters unable to respond. The ghosts could barely withstand a single strike in front of Xianyao and Tong Tong, but Fei Lao still, worried that his trickery had already been forced out. The power of Bai Sha is far stronger than that of an ordinary S level. However, Lin Feng also has his own confidence. Tong Tong has just slain a malevolent spirit. She has now reached a level sufficient to upgrade. Bai Sha was originally preparing to deal with Fei Lao's ghost, but at that moment, Tong Tong's upgrade caused a tremendous wave of ghostly cries. Bai Sha suddenly turned around. He can ignore Fei Lao's ghost, but Tong Tong sighed. He felt a deadly threat. Tong Tong, an S level, has reached 4-star potential. He went straight into mutation mode. A massive golden shadow appeared behind him. Xianhua forcibly expanded his own domain within Bai Sha's ghost domain. Bai Sha's ghost domain had already been affected by Fei Lao's domain. It was further disrupted by Guima's attack. Now, it was completely broken by Xuanhua's ghost domain. Now it's time for Old Fei to counterattack. Hearing this, Old Fei's eyes were filled with shock. Have these two really come to die? Under Lin Feng's shadow, Tong Tong swung her big knife towards Bai Sha. The shadow behind her mimicked the same action. Bai Sha is indeed remarkable. The paper figures combined into a giant monster. It grabbed Tong Tong's phantom with its claws, then punched Tong Tong with a backhand. The blow sent Tong Tong flying backward. Tong Tong got hit. How could Lin Feng stand by? He flicked his cloak. The spirits that were previously dealt with reappeared one after another. They all pounced on the paper giant beast. They started biting it wildly. The paper giant beast is powerful, but it can't withstand so many minions, and they all fight recklessly. Moreover, there's a formidable opponent, Tong Tong, watching closely. Seeing the giant beast being distracted, Tong Tong seizes the opportunity for a stunning strike. This time, the paper beast was effortlessly sliced in half, revealing the figure of Bai Sha behind it. Bai Sha charged straight at Tong Tong, releasing the hand. She blocked the golden phantom's attack. As Bai Sha shattered into fragments, Tong Tong stood tall in the air, like a god or demon descending. The Bai Sha before her slowly dissipated, but the system prompt did not come through. Old Fei looked at the detector hairstyle on the ID badge. Bai Sha had already run away. He is already 500 meters away. Lin Feng immediately turned to look in the direction where Bai Sha had fled. Sure enough, he left without looking back. This Bai Sha definitely has the ability to clone himself. This behavior is certainly not typical of an ordinary S-class evil spirit. Everyone was about to rush forward, but Lin Feng stopped them. The mutation time is near, and it's crucial to hold on to the hand. Lin Feng's intention supported everyone here. It scared the S-rank evil spirits into fleeing, and even controlled 2 S-rank ghost spirits. This should have been a moment of celebration, but the news about the identity badge came in. Lu Cheng is requesting assistance. The blue line has been completely breached. The demon's nest has already reached the foot of Golden City. I know that one of the chickens I thought the western front, facing two S-class evil spirits, would be under the most pressure. I didn't expect the southern front to fail directly. Lin Feng frowned. This ghost lair seems completely chaotic. But upon closer inspection, it is clearly premeditated. Every step is aimed at Lu Cheng. They are preparing to destroy Lu Cheng. Seeing Lin Feng's expression, Old Fei also realized, Old Fei and the others can't leave. Otherwise, the western front will also falter. The situation will only become more critical. At this time, Lin Feng volunteered to handle other ghost-related matters. I looked at Lin Feng with eyes full of gratitude. Because their wives and children were in the city. Now, they could only place their hopes on Lin Feng. Lin Feng did not linger too long. He mounted his horse and began to set off again. This ghost nest is definitely not a coincidence. Perhaps there are answers to be found in the city. Lin rushed to the west of the city, but he found that everything here seemed quite normal. Suddenly, he received news of safety. Brother Lin, are you in Lu City? Can you come help us? We are in the basement of the shopping center. The outside is full of evil spirits. That being said, the ghost nest has entered the city, riding on ghostly horses, not far now. The current situation confirms Lin Feng's speculation. A huge ghost domain appeared before Lin Feng. The extent of this eerie domain completely covers the center of the outer city. Could it really be an S level or above evil? Lin Feng quietly sneaked into the ghost realm, but he found that once he entered, he couldn't get out. Not far away, the fluctuations of battle were heard. It was clearly the location of the school. Could it be that the inner city has already fallen? In the underground warehouse of the central supermarket, 3 of Lin Feng's peers were hiding here. This time, the ghost tide came so fiercely, so suddenly and unexpectedly. They had no ability to cope at all. After receiving the distress message, Lin Feng has been rushing to the mall. But the mall is huge. It's really hard to find the evil spirits in the short term. Lin Feng didn't waste any time either. These are great materials for leveling up. The chubby kid suddenly remembered something. He ran to ask Jiang Xuan, "Isn't your dad an A-level spirit master? Why isn't he here to save you?" This question made Jiang Xuan, who was already scared, burst into tears. Her dad is guarding the city in Nan County. Now she can't get in touch with him. There are some things he might not dare to think about. Suddenly, there was a sound from the rolling shutter of the underground warehouse. The 3 of them all stared at the entrance, wondering who it could be. Lin Feng tentatively patted the door in front of him. The doors of the underground warehouses in shopping malls are all more or less the same. Ping An didn't explain clearly, so he found it hard to determine. The next moment, under the terrified gazes of the 3, a fierce attack directly caused the door to shatter. An evil spirit from the dense forest forcibly broke in. The 3 of them were so scared that they turned and ran. They didn't wait for a savior. They only received a death warrant. Meanwhile, over at Lin Feng's side, the door opened. Inside was a mother and child curled up in the corner. They were looking at someone in front of them. Lin Feng's pupils locked in place. It was actually him. This was the mother who had abandoned him. The moment he saw him, Lin Feng fell into memories. At that time, he was just out working, returning to the carpenter. Grandpa was cutting Tong Tong's hair with an axe. Lin Feng, who had never experienced this, saw the scene. He almost thought Grandpa had gone crazy. He was going to harm Tong Tong seriously. Tong Tong was still tilting her head playfully. Grandpa Lin Feng's skills were top-notch. Next time, let the good boy try. In the shantytown of this outer city, Lin Feng and Tong Tong, who have no blood relation, have become a family. Grandpa Hu does mechanical repair and recycling work. His reputation is good. Actually, Grandpa Hu is not good at housework, but he takes good care of Tong Tong and Lin Feng. Although Tong Tong is also a child who was once abandoned, but I'm particularly optimistic. Life may be poor, but it is still very warm. Lin Feng was almost forgetting the pain of being abandoned. Until one day, 2 ghost hunters came knocking. As soon as they saw Grandpa Hu, they began shouting loudly. "I just exchanged the sensor with you last week. Something happened today." The guy with the surname Jean pointed at the car behind him and continued. "Look at what happened to my precious car. It must be because you were trying to save money, and gave me a defective product." Grandpa Hu is too honest. He was still seriously explaining. "It's impossible. I, Old Hu, never do such dishonest things. And the sensors won't cause loss of direction or brake failure." Mr. Jean grabbing Old Hu by the collar means we are scamming you. Then he threw Grandpa Hu to the ground. "Who knows what tricks you pulled? I was told by the Ghost Master that you did this. If you want to keep mixing in this, you'd better pay me." At this moment, Lin Feng and Tong Tong were carrying a bunch of food home. As soon as they arrived home, they saw Grandpa Hu being bullied. The 2 quickly rushed forward to help Grandpa Hu up. Grandpa Hu is the guardian star of Tong Tong and Lin Feng. Seeing him injured, they both panicked. Grandpa Hu said he was fine, then gave a fierce look of contempt at the 2 who had left. Relying on the fact that they encountered a Ghost Master, they bully honest people, and still want to extort my money. I don't even know where I put my own money. After saying that, they scratched their head and laughed foolishly. Ha ha ha. A warm and joyful little family. I didn't expect the weak to punch down at someone even weaker. That car was indeed damaged by Mr. Jean himself. But in their eyes, if you're not a tool of the Ghost Master, you deserve to be bullied. So one night, they took advantage of Grandpa Hu's absence, and kicked open the door of Grandpa Hu's shop. Grandpa Hu is not here. The 2 little kids pose no threat to them. Tong Tong and Lin Feng, who were playing with the cat, noticed the unexpected guests. They were not alarmed, because they were already poor. They had nothing to lose. One of the 3 ghost hunters slid off. He grabbed Tong Tong and Lin Feng. The other 2 began rummaging through the cabinets, searched almost everywhere, and only found a small bag of worthless silver pieces. No gain. They even set their sights on Tong Tong. They planned to sell Tong Tong to a private factory, to get some petty cash in return. Hearing this, Lin Feng was furious. Who dares touch Tong Tong? He fought desperately with someone. He suddenly exerted force. He broke free from restraints. He bit down on that person's hand. But that person swung their hand and threw him out. He crashed into a nearby wooden box. In the end, Lin Feng could only watch helplessly as they took Tong Tong away. He gradually lost consciousness, fainted on the ground. When he woke up, Grandpa Hu had already returned, and carefully bandaged his wounds. Fortunately, Lin Feng hadn't forgotten the key phrase they mentioned. He knew that Tong Tong was locked up somewhere in the south of the city. In the evening, the grandfather and grandson began their mission. After circling around, finally found the target. Grandpa Hu handed Lin Feng a flashlight and a dagger. He told him to go in through the vent to investigate, then come back out. Lin Feng crawled through one vent after another. He finally found the room where Tong Tong was. He saw that Tong Tong was forcibly tied to the bed by a group of people. One of them was holding a syringe. It seems they're about to inject something into Tong Tong. Lin Feng, in a moment of excitement, accidentally dropped the dagger in his hand. It plunged straight into the other bed, attracting everyone's attention. They immediately realized someone was in the ventilation duct. They alerted the others to block all exits. Lin knew it was bad. He quickly tried to escape, but it was already too late. Someone below aimed a grappling hook and fired it in Lin Feng's direction. The grappling hook broke through the ventilation duct. Lin Feng fell out from inside. The ventilation duct wasn't very high, but that fall still hurt. It's absolutely overwhelming for the children. Lin Feng groggily opened his eyes and was shocked by what he saw. In the row of beds, There were pregnant women forcibly locked to their beds, attached to various instruments and tubes. Lin Feng didn't have time to think, as he was pushed forward. No matter how I struggle, it's all in vain. Until I saw the owner of the factory. Lin Feng gave up struggling. Isn't this just me being bullied? A very luxurious thing. Lin Feng also saw the shock on their faces. I didn't expect there would be a chance to meet again. Still in this form. Hearing the noise from the factory, Grandpa who knew something had happened. He had to take action. Inside the factory. He called two people, Mom and Dad. He was in utter shock. His parents were actually working here. Lin Feng's mother was also a bit stunned. Lin Feng's father went straight up and slapped him. Who do you think you are? Stop running nations. With a loud bang, a big hole was smashed in the outer wall of the factory. Grandpa Hu rushed in holding a crossbow. However, inside the factory, the people were completely unbothered. Bai Chong aimed and shot at Grandpa Hu. Grandpa Hu seized the opportunity and shot the crossbow bolt. He wanted Lin Feng to take Tong Tong away. Tong Tong is much stronger than Lin Feng and the others imagined. She found the right moment and jumped out of bed. She ran upstairs. Lin Feng quickly followed. He only had one thought in mind. That is to protect Tong Tong well. The crossbow bolts shot by Grandpa Hu were all dodged. This also successfully blocked this group of people. But Tong Tong and the others were heading up. How could they possibly escape? Before long, they reached the rooftop. The people behind had already caught up. The two had nowhere left to retreat. Lin Feng protected Tong Tong behind him. He told him to not worry. Grandpa will save us. But the reality is harsh. Grandpa Nyo was soon brought in, covered in wounds. He was even being threatened by Lin Feng's father with a gun. Tong Tong and Lin Feng gasped in shock. Grandpa Hu also spoke up at this moment, begging you. Let them go. I can pay, no matter how much it costs. Lin Feng's father kicked him directly. Who cares about your money? What I'm nurturing here is the future generation of ghost masters. A spirit medium. I've been you for generations. Then he turned to look at Tong Tong. Come here, little one. I promise I won't hurt you. Just as they were about to attack Tong Tong, Grandpa Hu suddenly exerted himself. He broke free from his restraints and lunged at Lin Feng's father. But he was old and frail. How could he compete? Kicked away again. Lin Feng's angry father no longer stayed behind. He aimed at Grandpa Hu and fired a shot. How could everyone possibly stand by? He rushed in front of Grandpa Hu. He took the shot for him. Grandpa Hu was already on the edge of the roof. After Tong Tong fell down, the two of them fell down together. Only Lin Feng was left, crying helplessly. Out of respect for Lin Feng's mother, they didn't make things difficult for Lin Feng. They left Lin Feng to fend for himself. That day, Tong Tong died on the spot. Grandpa Hu became paraplegic. No one dared to help. They all keep their distance, saying that strong people deal with tools. It's just like crushing ants. If you can survive, you should feel lucky. What's even more ridiculous is that all of this is thanks to Lin Feng's biological parents. He understands even more that human hearts are far more terrifying than evil spirits. Later, Lin Feng stopped making friends. He no longer sought support. He wants to become the strongest ghost hunter. He is also the kind of person he hates the most. Lin Feng looks at the mother who once abandoned him. The ridiculous thing is that she doesn't even recognize him. She pleads desperately with Lin Feng. We were attacked by a ghost nest. We had no choice but to hide here. Please, save me and the child. Lin Feng asked her, where is your husband? The woman looked troubled. Hesitating, she still spoke up. When we first encountered the evil spirit, he abandoned my son and me and ran. Lin Feng wasn't surprised at all. That was exactly something that cold-hearted man would do. Then Lin Feng turned his gaze to the child. In such a dangerous moment, he still kept him by his side. His talent must be quite impressive. If he doesn't save this child this time, he might end up repeating his own experiences from years ago. At this moment, a message came through the identity tag. The advance team is about to arrive. You need to escort the refugees to the residential area. Lin Feng responded with his current location. He brought along his biological mother who didn't recognize him. Before leaving, this woman still hadn't forgotten him. She asked Lin Feng to check the third floor of the mall. She might still be alive. When mentioning that man, Lin Feng would think of Tong Tong, who saved him. That's also why he named his first ghost spirit Tong Tong. It is to commemorate the light that illuminated his dark life. Lin Feng was puzzled. That man abandoned you the moment he encountered danger. You still want to save him? His response left Lin Feng silent. Please, I beg you. No matter what, he is still family. After a moment, Lin Feng still walked into the shopping center. Even if they ignore that man's safety, they still have to save him. But along the way, Lin Feng only found Ping An's identity tag. Did he come too late? I don't even know if they managed to escape. To save time, Lin Feng had Manhwa and Tong Tong deal with the evil spirits. He ran upstairs first. The glass roof shattered. This saves Lin Feng from having to find someone. He's probably on the rooftop. It's exactly as Lin Feng thought. On the rooftop's helipad, a helicopter is under attack by evil spirits. However, in the cockpit of the helicopter is Lin Feng's father. He used the golden bullet to barely fend off the spirits. More and more spirits surrounded him. He couldn't react in time. He still got slashed. A liquid spirit wrapped around his body, seeking any gap it could enter, gradually stripping away his control over his body. Just at this moment, Lin Feng arrived at the rooftop, witnessing everything that was happening. When they saw Lin Feng, it was like seeing a savior. Hey brother over there, help me, I can give you a lot of contribution points. And gold. Lin Feng watched coldly. There was not the slightest reaction. I never expected to see the person I least wanted to see. His body was gradually being controlled by the evil spirit. He involuntarily fell to the ground. Yet he still held on to a glimmer of hope. Wealth, power, and women. I can give you all of it. Help me. Lin Feng remained silent. In the end, these thoughts were all that filled his mind. Moreover, he had already been completely possessed by the evil spirit. There was no remedy. Lin Feng did not act. All the evil spirits rushed towards him. He was forced to the edge of the rooftop. He was already trapped with no way out. The evil spirit had already begun to fully take over his body. He went insane and fired at Lin Feng. If I die, we die together. Lin Feng didn't move. All the bullets missed. If one of them hadn't missed, would Lin Feng have moved? Only he knows. In the end, Lin Feng's father was possessed by the evil spirit and fell from the top of the shopping center. Lin Feng didn't look back and turned to leave. He deserved this fate. Meanwhile, the ghost hunting school quickly organized the students to escape, but the car drove off suddenly, and an explosion occurred. The driver of another car slammed the steering wheel. He narrowly avoided the danger. However, things were clearly not that simple. A fiery spirit erupted from the exploded car. Fortunately, a ghost master acted in time. He sent out his ghostly sword dance to block it. The child in the car was crying loudly. The current situation truly scared them badly. The adults comforted them, telling them not to panic. Just hold on for a few more minutes, and we'll reach the Yugishi residential area. There will be people to help us. When they arrived at the residential area, they were shocked to find it was also engulfed in flames. Their savior in sight. The last battle was them fleeing in all directions from the demons. Ping An and Jiang Shuang managed to escape from the shopping mall. After hiding in the Yugishi residential area, they discovered yet another disaster. Those genius students were treated like playthings by the evil spirits in the ghost nest. In the blink of an eye, they were instantly killed. This time, it became these ghost masters' turn, hoping to escape by taking the school bus. But it was all too late. A gigantic evil spirit fell from the sky, piercing straight into the ground. The waves it stirred nearly overturned the school bus. After landing, its wings spread open, revealing its full form. It is a massive creature with one eye, 8 wings, and antlers. The airflow created by its outstretched wings caused the already wobbling school bus to completely lose its balance. It began to tilt to one side. At this critical moment, a roller coaster from the amusement park appeared out of nowhere. It stabilized the school bus. This was, of course, the work of Tong Tong. Immediately, his strange expansion kept the evil spirits at bay. The one-eyed horned monster is furious. It sensed a threat from Tong Tong. It launched the attack first, but Tong Tong skillfully dodged. Instead, it was struck by Tong Tong's ribbon. The poison eye and the others coordinated perfectly. They unleashed ghostly flames. They added fuel to the wounds caused by Tong Tong. The monster couldn't react at all. It suffered a series of heavy blows. This isn't over yet. Lin Feng leaped high on his horse, wielding the yellow turban ghost sword. He struck down fiercely at its venomous eye. With a loud boom, the mountain shook and the ground cracked. The ground spreads out like a spider web. Golden energy erupts everywhere. The others watching from the sidelines are so shocked that their mouths can't close. Where did this freak come from? Is he dead already? Could that person be the savior? Upon closer inspection, sharp-eyed individuals recognize him. Isn't that Lin Feng? Ping felt incredibly excited. That's my brother Lin for you. This skill level is already at an A-rank veteran standard. Lin Feng didn't waste any words. He mounted his horse with Xianhua and Tong Tong, coming to the front of the group. Everyone, bring the wounded. As I walked with them, everyone suddenly forgot the earlier fear. They began to admire Lin Feng's strength. They showed their admiration for Lin Feng. With the addition of Lin Feng, a top-tier fighter, the evacuation convoy also formed a defensive formation. As long as there aren't any too powerful ghosts, they can handle it. Lin Feng charged forward alone, clearing the way for everyone. It would be an exaggeration to say it was a one-man blockade. The convoy finally reached the eastern gate of the outer city. The inner part of the city wall had been transformed into a safe haven by the Ghost Hunters Association. Lin Feng was focusing on the arrangement of the refugee group. A familiar voice came to his ears. Haven't seen me in a few days. Did you miss your sister? Reunions are supposed to be joyful occasions, but now, President Yan has a worried look on his face. This is because the southern city wall of Liucheng's outer city has been damaged. As a result, most of the urban area has fallen. Only one fortress is still holding on. To stop the ghost nest, the key lies in the ghost masters. Over 1,000 ghost masters have already died this time. The losses are too great. Suddenly, President Yan thought of something. He asked Lin Feng, "You came from the west, right? How is Fei Lao?" Lin Feng awkwardly scratched his cheek. "I helped him deal with 3 S-class evil spirits. There shouldn't be any issues now." President Yan, upon hearing this, was taken aback at first. Then Xiao Quan punched Lin Feng. Wow, Lin Feng actually learned to joke seriously. Is the next step learning to trick girls? During their chat, a ghost master burst in. An extremely violent S-level evil spirit has infiltrated. President Yan's expression turned serious in the wind. Let's hurry to support the city lord. Fortress number 3, Lucheng South. It is currently the only remaining fortress in the south, struggling under the immense pressure from the demon's lair. All of this is because of the Lord of Lucheng. He is the top S-level ghost master in all of Lucheng. His ghostly desires have intercepted the majority of powerful evils. He has also received urgent reports here. Another S-level evil spirit has come to the west side of the city. Upon hearing the news, he cursed and swore, "What the hell? You had time to come here. Why didn't you go after him?" On the other side, Lin Feng rode the ghost horse, taking President Yan along to provide support. President Yan sincerely marveled at how cool the ghost horse was. Lin Feng didn't say much. Just a reminder to hurry up. We're moving quickly. Chairman Yan's face turned red. He took the initiative to wrap his arms around Lin Feng's waist. As the two of them ran a distance, a notification suddenly appeared on the identity tag. The S-class evil spirit that broke in is not far to the right. Lin Feng resisted with his extraordinary vision. I found it. This is the one that escaped from the western front. He knows Yan Huiji. It's the white paper I mentioned that ran away. This is great news for President Yan. This evil spirit shares the same origin as Xiaobai. It devoured him. Xiaobai can level up now, but he is very good at escaping. Lin Feng had Chairman Yan lure him over. If Xiaobai can devour him, then he can also devour Xiaobai. Xiaobai's aura is extremely attractive to him. Sure enough, the paper figure, Baisha, saw the paper airplane transformed by Xiaobai's ability, and licked his lips. He leaped and chased after it. Little did he expect that he wouldn't run far. He was soon enveloped by the noisy ghost realm. Xiaobai was hiding within the clamor of the eerie domain. Now he had nowhere to escape. Tong Tong silently appeared behind Baisha. When Baisha saw Tong Tong, he had already entered his mutated mode. The knife comes slashing down. If he had been prepared earlier, he might have stood a chance. Now, he is deep in an ambush, suppressed by the noisy and strange surroundings, and caught off guard by Tong Tong. In an instant, he turns to dust in the light of Tong Tong's blade. Xiaobai cannot bear to waste a single bit. Gather all the paper scraps. This is his opportunity for advancement. President Yan sees it clearly. He is astonished inside. So what this guy said earlier was true. A strange mirror suddenly appears above the sect. The many ghost hunters on the city wall are all shocked. What on earth is this? In front of him, even an S-class spirit seems so insignificant. The Lord of Lucheng made a quick judgment. This guy's abilities must be very special. He reminded everyone to be careful. The detector on the identity badge showed that the detection result for this evil spirit turned orange. On the mirror surfaces of all buildings in Lucheng, the image of this evil spirit has surfaced. Even on the car window by the river. As long as it's a reflective surface, it's projecting his figure. This ghost's lair. He's been lurking all along. Now he successfully advanced to an abyssal level spirit. Lin Feng and President Yan received the news at this moment. Suddenly, 4 S-level evil spirits appeared in room 1. Immediate support is needed. When Lin Feng looked at the identity badge, he noticed that one of the detection results had turned orange. Chairman Yan immediately realized the seriousness of the situation. Currently, there is no one in Lucheng with the ability to match it. In other words, its level exceeds that of everyone else. After receiving the news, President Yan and Lin Feng hurried on their way. It wasn't long before they arrived at the number 3 competition. The Lord of Lucheng shared his speculation with the two. This ghost had never participated in battle before, yet it has evolved now. This means that it has gained experience from other evil spirits. It's very likely that he is the commander of this ghost nest. Then he is the key to breaking the deadlock. President Yan frowned tightly. But as a level abyss, why hasn't he unleashed his ghost domain yet? Lord Lucheng sighed. Because the entire Lu city has already been covered by his ghost domain. President, how could a villain be like this? But then, he didn't finish his sentence. Because he didn't want to think in that direction himself. The city lord also wore a worried expression. It's already too late to retreat. If he wanted to kill all the ordinary people in the city, he might only need a few minutes. But there is still a glimmer of hope. He just advanced. With my strength, I can hold him off. The first level of this ghost domain. Logically, it should only cover most of Liucheng's inner city. But the eerie domain has directly encompassed the entire Lucheng. This range is too outrageous. So I suspect that his abilities in other areas must be relatively weaker. To achieve a balance, what you need to do is help me find his weakness. Lin Feng and President Yan agreed without hesitation. Lin Feng rode his ghostly steed towards the three S-class evil spirits coming from the west. President Yan's target was the S-class spirit in the east. Looking at the three S-class spirits in front of him, Lin Feng thought to himself that with Tong Tong and Xianhuan's fighting power, it shouldn't be too difficult. But the next second, the three turned into six. Lin Feng didn't even blink. They doubled right under Lin Feng's nose. Could this be that special ability of the trick? If the trick's ability is a mirage illusion, then we have to find the real one. Chairman Yan told Xiaohua to go test it first. When the three strange forces collide, Chairman Yan discovered that both were actually real. The developments once again exceeded Chairman Yan's understanding. How is this possible? Other ghost hunters also reported in. The number of ghost nests has surged. They simply can't cope. For the time being, there was no better solution. Chairman Yan could only request the ghost hunters from Lu City to fully support Nanshan. However, President Yan firmly believes that the abilities displayed by Gui Jin far exceed our understanding. There must be some flaw. Lin Feng wasn't impressed after hearing that. Why look for flaws? Just kill them all. A tacit collaboration. Lin Feng unleashed his supernatural domain. The 6 ghostly apricot trees in front were taken in. Tong Tong's figure flashed and disappeared. She directly tore apart a large eyeball. Strangely, there was only experience reward, no others. While the noisy red thread danced wildly, the other large eyeball had no power to resist at all. Go to the underworld with the last one. The system prompt came. Obtain ghost spirit pill. Obtain ghost jade fragment. 2 bonds increased by 2. It seems that this time it's the main body, so the mirror image should still be somewhat different from the main body. Then there's one more thing that needs to be verified. Tong Tong opens her ghost eye. Let's see if she can recognize the main body. First, eliminate the main body. Tong Tong opened the vertical eye on her forehead. The situation in her eyes changed. The 2 evil spirits, which were almost indistinguishable before, were nowhere to hide under Tong Tong's ghost eye. He directly pounced on the main body. Tong Tong's combat power far exceeds his own level. As an S-rank evil spirit, he was easily subdued. After the main body died, the mirror image also disappeared. Chairman Yan's situation here is not very good. Xiaohua leans toward support, using her abilities to bind an evil spirit. Afterward, they weren't able to defend against the attack from the other one. Fortunately, Xiao Bai acted in time. After absorbing the paper figurine by Sha, his combat power has improved significantly. Moreover, he just happened to kill the main body. Only then could the battle here come to an end. The ghost hunting master on the city wall applauded. Lin Feng and the others are truly amazing. They have already eliminated those SGs. But then I found the Lord of Lucheng coughing up blood. His ghost jade is about to give out. This ghost master hurriedly sought help from Lin Feng and President Yan. The Lord will display the ghost jade. Please come immediately. Lin Feng's ghost horse is very fast. He arrived in the Lord's ghost domain first. This place has been completely transformed into a mirrored world. There are still a few ghostly figures fighting in the arena. Upon closer inspection, they all resemble the city lord's ghostly form. Lin Feng suddenly realized something was wrong. He immediately turned to look at Xianhua and Tong Tong. His concerns were not unfounded. Xianhua and Tong Tong had also been copied twice. The city lord's warning came too late. Be careful, the ghost mirror can replicate any ghost spirit, including their special abilities. Lin Feng understood. It seems this ghost mirror won't attack directly. Instead, it uses this method to defeat its enemies. At this point, there's no choice but to fight. But Lin Feng specifically reminded not to use special abilities, to avoid being copied over. Considering the effect of ghost jade on ghost horse, Lin Feng put it away. If it got copied over, the city lord's predicament would be troublesome. At the same time, Lin Feng didn't forget to remind President Yan. There's a trap here. Figure out the pattern yourself before letting him in. Then Lin Feng immediately had Xianhua and Tong Tong fight. Tong Tong disappeared in a flash, effortlessly took out one of her own mirrors. Xianhua quickly joined the battle. 4 mirrors were obliterated in an instant. The Lord watched closely, still wearing a worried expression, because he knows this is just the beginning. As expected, the second wave has arrived. This time, the Xianhua mirror image also brought along the ghostly wail. When the mirror image clashes with the original, the mirrored ghostly cry clashes unexpectedly. Every inch becomes fierce. In the commotion, another sword swings. The mirrored ghostly cry shatters. The commotion of the golden ghost sword remains unchanged. It slices the mirror into 2 halves. Lin Feng secretly analyzes in his heart. The second time, the strength is even closer. But the phantom cry can't be completely replicated. However, if he replicates it infinitely, his phantom cry will eventually run out. How can this be broken? With a single punch, the city lord's phantom can barely hold on, enjoying the phantom jade teetering on the edge, radically shattering. The lord's expression is also quite grim. He is almost at his limit. Lin Feng quickly called for Xianhua to deploy the same range of ghost jade. After Xianhua deployed the ghost jade, he similarly bore an additional layer of commemoration. This means that here, the mirror ghost can also summon reflections. As expected, Lin Feng turns around. Behind him, Tong Tong and the noisy mirror images reappear. Lin Feng gets aggressive. He immediately puts Tong Tong into mutant mode. He has Xianhua use ghost fire. He wants to see how far this mirror ghost can replicate. In mutant mode, Tong Tong handles the mirror images with ease, like slicing through vegetables. Xuanhua's ghost fire doesn't fall behind either. Just a spark, and it becomes hard to escape. After several rounds of battle, Lin Feng finally started to see some clues. The intervals between each copy are getting longer. It seems that controlling the mirror demon consumes a lot as well. And with such a complicated battle, he must be nearby to control it. Lin Feng took this time to think. The mirror demon is getting serious. It directly created 8 duplicated images. Lin Feng remains calm. Tong Tong is making a commotion and attacking with all her strength. So Tong Tong summoned her golden phantom to create a ruckus. She pointed with her sword. Ghostly flames surged up. The city lord was taken aback. Where did this kid get such powerful spirits? So many different forms. To end the battle quickly, the Xianhua red threads dance in the air, binding all the reflections of Tong. Tong charges up for a devastating strike. His unstoppable attack obliterates all the reflections. The aftermath hits the ground. Another tremor shook the ground. The ground cracked open like a spider web. Xianhua saw that Tong Tong no longer needed help. She turned to unleash the ghost fire, destroying the mirror image of the city lord's spirit. The battle is not over yet. Lin Feng said to Tong Tong, use the ghost eye to find the true form of Gui Jin. The vertical eye on Tong Tong's forehead. This armored world has changed in his eyes. It has transformed amidst the black and white world. A faint green light stands out remarkably. It seems this is the essence of the ghost mirror. Tong Tong is about to launch an attack. The ghost mirror sharply senses the danger and transforms into a streak of light to escape. The entire ghost domain has been mirrored by him. He can escape anywhere. Lin Feng and the others can't even touch his tail. But he just happened to run into the combination of Xianhua and Lin Feng. Xianhua itself is an extremely unique dual ghost domain, and Lin Feng fed it with ghost domain fragments without hesitation. Facing the rogue tactics of forbidden ghosts, Lin Feng made Xianhua unleash its second layer of eeriness. The second layer of the ghost domain, gradually covering the first layer of the eerie domain inch by inch. The mirroring of the eerie domain is also gradually tightening. There is no more mirror. The forbidden ghosts have no place to hide, forced to reveal their true forms, previously protected by the mirror. Allowed the forbidden ghosts time to cover the ghost domain with the mirror. But now all the mirrors have been killed. There's no escape for the ghost band. In his own ghost domain, Xianhua holds absolute control. His figure moves swiftly, appearing behind the ghost band. The ghost sword in his hand is raised high. The ghost band realizes it all. But fighting wasn't his strength. He could only watch as the ghost sword slashed through his body, and died on the spot. The vessel of the mirror ghost fell from the sky. A system message appeared. Battle victory. Receive ghost jade fragment. Form 2, ghost mirror form 1. Lin Feng made the commotion stop and closed the ghost jade. He reached out to catch the falling ghost mirror. He thought to himself, this guy really knows how to deliver experience. In this short time, he had already given over 20,000. President Yan saw the ghost jade dissipate. He hurried over. But he discovered that Lin Feng was holding the scheme. He asked incredulously, has the forbidden ghost really died? The Lord of Lucheng laughed out loud from the side. That's right, that's right. It's all thanks to Lin Feng this time. We were able to achieve victory. An unknown ghost excitedly spoke up. Look, the ghost nest is retreating. The crisis of Liucheng's destruction has been averted. Lin Feng's glorious deeds quickly spread. After all, this incident involves too many people. He returned in triumph and was regarded as a hero by everyone. Lin Feng's biological mother listened to the name being cheered by the crowd, with countless thoughts in her heart. If she hadn't abandoned him back then, what would it be like now? The child beside her asked, Mom, do you know that brother? He knows that he is no longer qualified to be Lin Feng's relative. So he replied that he didn't know. Good boy, you need to remember that our lives were saved by Lin Feng. If you have the chance, you must repay him well. The little boy nodded with determination in his eyes. Yeah, although the ghost nest has retreated, the reconstruction of the city will be quite a hassle for you. The Lord of Lucheng immediately prepared to arrange tasks. Lin Feng stopped him. The ghost sword was interrupted before finishing his words. You keep it. This victory was thanks to you. You deserve it. There will be a celebration banquet tonight. Please be sure to attend. Lin Feng wanted to refuse. Chairman Yan put his arm around his shoulder from behind and accepted on his behalf. The city's reconstruction was progressing in an orderly manner. Chairman Yan walked around for a long time but couldn't find Lin Feng. He finally found him sitting alone in a high place, lost in thought. Lin Feng's thoughts were written all over his face. He didn't try to hide them. President Yan sat down next to him, talking to himself. What's wrong? You seem troubled. Why don't you talk to your sister? Lin Feng's eyes carried a hint of confusion. He expressed his thoughts from childhood to now. My greatest motivation has always been to climb to great heights, so that those who look down on me will regret it. But in the end, I found that they've long forgotten about me. Of course, they never cared about me either. In the end, I'm still alone. After hearing the boy's worries, President Yan smiled warmly. Hasn't the one closest to you always been by your side? Your spirit companion has silently been with you for 15 years. Even though they can't speak, they've always silently stayed by my side. They shouldn't just be tools for fighting. The bond between the Ghost Master and the ghostly spirits is clearly inseparable partners. So don't say you're just a person anymore. Besides, you have me. I'm counting on you to protect me in the future, and to help me rise to greatness. This is since Lin Feng left Haicheng. Lu Ru received a message from Lin Feng for the first time. The maid hurriedly ran over. Miss, something big has happened. Lu Ru turned curiously, asking what was going on. The maid quickly waved her hand, saying, it's Lin Feng. He single-handedly repelled the demon's nest, and the news has spread all over Haicheng. What? Lu Ru took the identity badge handed to her by the maid. She looked at the message displayed on it. He couldn't help but marvel. The speed of growth is truly astonishing. He has actually defeated the abyss. The maid beside him echoed, indeed. Moreover, he's both handsome and young. He is a perfect match for the young lady. Lu Ru saw the news. She fell into deep thought. Such a genius. If we don't seize this chance now, we might never catch it again. The maid encouraged her. Miss, don't worry. Not to mention your stunning beauty. Even your status as the wife of the Lord of Haicheng is top-notch. Even a ghost master would be moved. But Lu Ru thought for a moment, shyly covering his face again. He's still just a 15-year-old boy. He might not have thought about those things. An old cow eats tender grass. It really is quite strange. Looking at his young lady affectionately, a little shy, unable to show his face. The maid reminded again. Oh, by the way, those families in Haicheng have always been competing. If they find out that Miss chose Lin Feng, will it be bad for him? They drove Lu Ru to regain her former aura, and sent someone to keep an eye on him, to prevent Lin Feng from encountering danger. The support troops from Haicheng heading to Lucheng are already on their way. The earthly fiends and ghost encounter master, Chao Shan couldn't help but be curious about what was happening. There haven't been any ghosts on this journey. Could it be that Lucheng has already been captured? All the ghosts are in the city. S-class ghost encounter master, General Yang Bo from Haicheng replied. Commander Li, I just saw the news. They seem to be saying that the ghost nest was repelled. One of the ghost hunters took over the conversation. It seems that a person named Lin Feng defeated Shen Yuanji. That's how they won. In the evening, Lin Feng accompanied President Yan to the banquet. It was his first time attending such a high society event. After entering, he curiously looked around. When Old Fei saw Lin Feng, he immediately rushed forward and gave him a bear hug. Not only did he save his life, but he also saved the entire Lucheng. Upon learning that this young man was Lin Feng, Chao Shan and Yang Bo also came up to greet him. Old Fei briefly introduced them to Lin Feng. Upon hearing about Lin Feng's feats, they also found it quite stunning. They took the initiative to befriend Lin Feng. Yang Bo even specifically reminded Lin Feng. The news about Miss 3 choosing a woman as her husband has already spread. It's better not to go to Haicheng recently. Lin Feng fell silent after hearing this. Could it be that those candidates think I'm in their way, and want to get rid of me? I haven't agreed yet. It's already decided. The banquet officially begins. The Lord of Lucheng stands up first. The main character of this celebration banquet is Lin Feng. Lucheng relies on him to turn the tide. I announce the award of 1 billion contribution points as recognition. In addition, there is a luxurious villa estate. Pu Yi is now fully equipped, as well as the Demon Cry warehouse. He has the chance to choose any 3 Demon Cry items. At the same time, he's awarded the title of Lucheng Guardian. Announcement complete. Everyone stood up together to congratulate Lin Feng. They were also sincerely grateful to Lin Feng. When the banquet ended, Lin Feng was already unconscious. He was being supported entirely by President Yan. It was his first time drinking so much. But when the two of them arrived at President Yan's house, the situation flipped. President Yan, feeling tipsy, was a bit lightheaded. Lin Feng, on the other hand, had sobered up due to his strong physique. Lin Feng really had to put in a lot of effort. He helped President Yan onto the bed. Just as he was about to get up and leave, President Yan grabbed his arm. President Yan pulled Lin Feng closer with some force, then wrapped both hands around Lin Feng's neck, and invited him to taste imported lipstick. Lin Feng's mind went blank. He let President Yan kiss him. Then President Yan gave a charming smile and said, all right, this is a reward for the great hero. Why aren't you blushing at all? Don't you like it? Before finishing her sentence, President Yan's eyes widened in surprise. Because Lin Feng pinned her hands down and leaned over. Sure enough, boys seem to be naturally gifted in this area. After the deep kiss, Lin Feng began to explore downward. President Yan called out. Lin Feng wanted him to stop, but showed no intention of stopping him. The rest of the night was priceless. The next day, Lin Feng woke up in President Yan's bed. When he got up, he found breakfast was ready on the table. President Yan was sitting nearby, drinking coffee. Lin Feng looked at the breakfast and asked, did Xianhua make breakfast again? President Yan did not look at Lin Feng, as if he was lost in thought. However, he still answered the question. I got up too early. I had nothing to do, so I casually made a couple of dishes. Go ahead and eat. Lin Feng happily sat down. He wanted to taste President Yan's cooking. The moment he took the first bite, his face turned green. But when President Yan asked how it tasted, Lin Feng still held back his nausea and said, "It's delicious." He didn't want to get into trouble so early in the morning. Took a few bites. Lin Feng hesitated, wanting to say something. He stammered as he spoke. "Well, actually, Chairman Yan turned away, not looking at him. He said, "All right, I still have to go on a business trip to the west side of the city. Lock the door when you leave." After speaking, he resolutely pushed the door open and went out. After stepping outside, her cheeks quickly turned red. So embarrassing. That mischievous little brother actually did that to me. I can't show my face anymore. Lin Feng was helpless. He just wanted to ask if there was any water. I'm about to die of thirst. After finishing breakfast, Lin Feng rode the ghostly horse to the west gate, preparing to continue tracking the third ghost spirit of Ji Zhaoan. He handed the letter soaked in ghostly tears to Xianhua, wanting him to try and see if he could still locate the direction of the ghostly tears. Xianhua shook his head helplessly. But it has been a while since the letter arrived. The ghostly aura on it has faded quite a bit. I thought this matter was going to fall through. Then Lin Feng suddenly remembered that Zhuo Hui's daughter is skilled in tracking. With the ghostly presence, a trip to Haicheng isn't much trouble. So Lin Feng hurried to Haicheng without stopping. After arriving in Haicheng, Lin Feng immediately found President Zhuo. President Zhuo actually came this time with a request. President Zhuo happily agreed. This is a good thing for him. Lin Feng's favor will be very valuable in the future. Seeing President Zhuo's gloomy expression, Lin Feng mentioned that he was looking for the two young ladies of the president. He hopes to get help in tracking down a ghostly spirit. The two girls heard this, and secretly felt delighted. Their faces turned red unconsciously. Lin Feng didn't notice their expressions. He took out the letter stained with ghost cry and handed it to Zhuo Yu. Zhuo Yu carefully accepted it, and used his ghost spirit doll to start sensing. After a while, the doll in Zhuo Yu's hand pointed in a direction. Zhuo Yu speaks up. The perception is a bit vague, but we can determine the general direction. That's really great. Ecstatic, Lin Feng spoke without thinking. He asked President Zhuo if he could borrow a few days. Zhuo Yu adjusted his glasses. He was silent for a moment. I was thinking of borrowing a few days. After borrowing, will you return me a child in 10 months? Seeing Chairman Zhuo's unpredictable expression, Lin Feng realized he had said something wrong. He quickly explained that I meant to ask Zhuo Yu to track this dog with me. I will definitely protect her well. With Lin Feng, there's really no need to worry about safety. Mainly, I'm just afraid the cabbage will be trampled by the pigs. After much hesitation, President Zhuo said it depends on my daughter's thoughts. Zhuo Yu was so happy. Huang Dude said, "Dad, I'm willing." Not only was he willing, but he also took the initiative to support. He called his sister Zhuo Yu to join in. Chairman Zhuo, helpless, could only agree. The pig hasn't even touched the cabbage yet, and the cabbage delivered itself with a buy one get one free offer. You just can't keep a grown daughter at home. In the end, only Zhuo Linzhua personally saw Lin Feng to the door, agreeing to meet again tomorrow. Lin Feng was about to turn and leave, but was knocked into someone's arms. When the person in his arms looked up at Lin Feng was taken aback. Isn't this the third young lady of Haicheng, Lu Ru? As soon as Lu Ru saw Lin Feng, she felt shy about her thoughts of pursuing someone younger. Stammering, she said, my father is looking for you. I hope you can come with me to the city lord's manor. There's something he wants to talk to you about in person. Lin Feng also wanted to inquire about Ji Zhaoan's whereabouts, so he readily agreed. On the way to the city lord's manor, Lu Ru seemed more relaxed than before. Even though the back seat had plenty of space, she insisted on sitting right next to Lin Feng. This made Lin Feng feel a bit uncomfortable. The car drove for quite a while, and the two finally arrived at the city lord's mansion. Lu Yunxiao, the city lord of Haicheng, personally came out to greet them. Seeing Lin Feng's handsome appearance, and recalling his glorious deeds, the more Lu Yunxiao looked at him, the more he appreciated him. It was as if he had already decided this would be his son-in-law. After a round of pleasantries, Lu Yunxiao is leading the way, calling Lin Feng to follow. To show him something, Lin Feng is actually a bit confused, looking at Lu Yunxiao, who seems robust. How could it be said that he could only live for 5 years? After the three of them arrived at their destination, a square building slowly rose up. Lu Yunxiao opened the door. The interior of the building was filled with a golden glow. Once inside, Lin Feng realized that Lu Ru had never been here. He asked Lu Yunxiao where this was. Lu Yunxiao did not explain. You'll find out soon enough. After speaking, Lin Feng felt himself starting to descend. It turns out, it's an elevator. 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, the elevator kept going down. No one knew how much time had passed. Lin Feng only knew they were deep underground. Finally, the elevator reached the bottom. As the elevator doors opened, what came into view was still a dazzling sea of gold. This is the golden vault of Haicheng. Lin Feng and Lu Ru curiously looked around. Lu Yunxiao continued explaining. This vault is used exclusively by the city lords. It holds some strange and special things. Lin Feng reflexively asked, isn't this quite similar to the golden prison of the Ghost City Alliance? It's often said that the Cloud School rebuttal should be called the golden prison. It's very similar to here. This secret room was built by my father 80 years ago. Back then, my father, as the leader of Haicheng, personally experienced the bizarre resurgence. In just a year, evil spirits invaded all over the world. Communications were cut off. The population of Haicheng has plummeted by 99%. Thanks to the shelters he built, the remaining people were able to survive. He also trained the first generation of spirit channelers, including himself. This gave them the power to fight against evil spirits. This also made Haicheng one of the few cities to survive the strange revival. At that time, ghost encounters could only rely on their innate talent to forcefully control evil spirits, which often meant they didn't live long. There were many cases where ghost masters were attacked by evil spirits. So my father built this secret chamber. It was used to imprison ghost masters from the forest. Shortly after I was born, he himself walked into one of the rooms, and never came out again. Later, I inherited my father's legacy, and continued to expand the defenses. It has also discovered the method for creating benevolent spirits. This is how Haicheng became what it is today. And the renowned Golden Prison was established shortly after the Ghost Master Alliance was formed, modeled after what we created. After finishing, Lu Yunxiao took Lu Ru and Lin Feng on a tour. This is the latest acquired spirit. There is no power, but can perceive space, uses sound waves to kill, can also imitate anyone's voice. As for this one over here, Lu Yunxiao turned his head. With a somewhat serious expression, he said, he is very special. Other than the host, he is human. As long as you see him, you'll die. Lin Feng was startled. Just one look and you're dead. That's just too amazing. So how did you all keep track of him? Because of this ghost spirit. Many night shift monitors who encountered the ghost master died unexpectedly. We originally planned to kill this ghost spirit directly, but later we developed the golden box that absorbs spirits. So we decided to completely seal him in the secret room, then lock him in the box. After a round of exploration, Lu Yunxiao sat down with the two of them. As you can see, there are many powerful spirits locked up here. They possess enough power to destroy Haicheng. However, if one day humanity starts a war, they will become the trump card in defending the Sea City. Lu Ru was a bit confused. Start a war? You mean humans fighting against themselves? Lu Yun smiled and explained. What's so unusual about that? Looking at history. In times of crisis, humanity can unite. Once peace is restored, there is time to start fighting. Even the strange resurgence a century ago is rumored to have been caused by a major power creating biological weapons. So you see, humanity is often a self-destructive species. Lin Feng is eager to refute this, thinking it over carefully. It really is the case. You keep asking for trouble. On the verge of death, yet you seek life. It's a never-ending cycle. Human nature truly can't withstand testing. Then Lu Yunxiao suddenly shifted the focus to Lin Feng. I have been paying attention to you during this time. Lin Feng was stunned. Why did it suddenly involve me? Why are they focused on me? Lu Yunxiao continued. I've seen all kinds of genius ghost hunters. Most of them are just a flash in the pan. Some even resort to any means for high-level ghost spirits. Not only do they risk their own lives, but they often drag entire cities to the grave with them. But you're different. Although you're young, you're steady and responsible. You're also the most outstanding person I've ever seen. So, how are you considering Xiaoru's proposal? Upon hearing that, the tea Lu Ru just drank sprayed right out. After all that circling around. So this is the key point. Lin Feng felt awkward and scratched his head. He's only 15 years old. Why are they already rushing him to get married? He quickly waved his hand, saying that something's so far away. I'm not considering it at the moment. Lu Yun burst into laughter. I know you don't want to be a live-in son-in-law, right? It just so happens that I've been thinking about it these days. Prepare to change the plan. If you can become a Disha and a ghost master within 5 years, and are willing to marry Xiaoru, I can grant you the rarest ghost spirit, to help you become a Tian-gang and a ghost master. The earlier parts were fine, but the next sentence left Lin Feng dumbfounded. Lu Yun laughed and said that you would become the Lord of Haicheng. Lu Ru heard it. She also didn't react right away. What, father? Do you even know what you're saying? You want to give Haicheng directly to Lin Feng? Looking at the agitated Lulu, Lu Yun smiled and raised her hand, saying, don't be anxious. Listen to me. You are the only medium in our family, but you are only grade A. My body is no longer what it used to be. It's hard to last until you grow up. Lu Yunxiao lowered her head. She continued to speak about these years. We in Haicheng have always cultivated Jade Ghost Lions ourselves. We have also adhered to the agreement with the Jade Ghost Lion Alliance. I know many people are wary of the army in Haicheng. The Ghost Master Alliance, the various families in Haicheng, and some shady underground forces are all eyeing the position of the city lord of Haicheng. If I die without a strong leader to command Haicheng, the struggle for power will plunge millions of Haicheng citizens into war. Hearing this, Lu Ru lowered her head in shame. When she learned her father wanted to hand Haicheng over to Lin Feng, Lu Ru found it hard to believe. After hearing her father's explanation, he can only blame himself for not being more ambitious. Lin Feng also admits that Lu Yunxiao's logic is not wrong. It's just that Lin Feng doesn't intend to take responsibility for the safety of the people in Haicheng. Upgrading himself with the system is enough. He doesn't need anyone else's help. He did not agree with Lu Yunxiao. Instead, he questioned why not help Miss Lu become a D-Sha level ghost master. Lu Ru really wanted to speak up. Do you think everyone is as perverted as you? But Lu Yunxiao said, if Lin Feng can improve this quickly, maybe you can too. Xiaoru, give it a try. Lu Ru could only obediently nod. Having received his father's approval, he gained more confidence in himself. Although the deal wasn't made, Lu Yunxiao still hoped that Lin Feng would take care of the Lu family in the future. Lin Feng also promised that he wouldn't speak of anything he saw today. Just as they were about to reach the door, Lin Feng suddenly remembered the main purpose of coming to the Lord's residence. Right, Lord, I have something to ask you. Have you heard of Ji Zhaoan? Ji Zhaoan sounded incredibly familiar to Lu Yunxiao, but they couldn't quite recall it right away. As the memories kept surfacing, he finally picked up that fragment of memory. A flash of thunder crossed his mind. Wasn't that the nunnery destroyed by the ghost extermination sect 50 years ago? In his memory, Ji Zhao Nunnery was a historic nunnery. After the strange revival, it trained many powerful ghost hunters. However, they only accepted women. Not interacting with the outside world gives it a somewhat mysterious feeling. 50 years ago, when I traveled to the north, I suddenly sensed a terrifying scheme emanating from outside the city. Later, I learned that it was a battle that took place in Jizhaon. It is said that after a powerful evil spirit went out of control, it exterminated the entire Jizhaon family. It turned into a wasteland. Lin Feng didn't expect it. It turns out that Jizhaon really existed. He continued to ask, what happened next? Did no one ever go there again? Lu Yunxiao replied, yes. That powerful evil spirit never showed up either. Perhaps it's still at Jizhaon. There are still hundreds of wronged souls lingering. Who would dare to get close? After that, there was no news at all. After understanding the situation, Lin Feng bid farewell to Lu Yunxiao. The next day, Lin Feng arrived at Chairman Zhuo's home. Chairman Zhuo repeatedly instructed him to take good care of my daughter. Lin Feng assured him that he would bring them back safe and sound. Then he turned over and got on the horse. He reached out to the two sisters. Get on the horse. This made Zhuolin and Zhuoyu extremely happy. They had wanted to ride for a long time. Of course, it was mostly because they were about to go out with Lin Feng. Zhuo, the president, watched this and felt heartbroken as a father. Why was his own daughter so eager to attach herself to someone else? The two daughters were completely oblivious to President Zhuo's thoughts, happily waving goodbye to him. This 15-year-old boy spent the night before last learning biology with the president of the Lucheng Ghost Encounters Association. Yesterday, he was invited to the Haicheng City Lord's mansion to discuss marriage with Miss Lu Wu, the third daughter of Haicheng. And today, he went to President Zhuo's house. Borrowed President Zhuo's two daughters. The three of them rode on ghost horses. Lin Feng asked if the direction Zhuoyu sensed hadn't changed, right? Zhuoyu looked at the doll in his hand. He then pointed in a direction. Zhuoyu confirmed it was correct. It was still to the northwest. Lin Feng replied, okay, but he was thinking in his heart. If what the Lord of Haicheng said is correct, then the ghost that will annihilate the Ji family, the strength should be very strong. It needs to be upgraded first. Speaking of upgrades, Lin Feng just remembered that last time Tong Tong upgraded, she had won 2 lotteries. Without hesitation, Lin Feng summoned the lottery interface. After some operations, he won the abilities of Fatal Damage Transfer and Mind Link. The ability of Fatal Damage Transfer allows the host to transfer fatal damage when they receive it, automatically transferred to the spirits. If the damage is ineffective against the spirits, then the host is unharmed, and the spirits are also unharmed. If it is effective against the spirits, then all of the host's spirits share the damage. This reminded Lin Feng of when he was assassinated during the tournament. With this ability, he doesn't have to worry at all. It's truly a life-saving skill. The ability to connect minds faces opponents with mental attacks. The host can link their consciousness with their spirit. The power of the Divine Stone merges with everyone. It enhances mental resistance. At the same time, the host and spirit can directly understand each other's intentions.